Okay, the morning session has already been rendered, and we'll put that on a private YouTube link within 24 hours, and we'll send out the recording for the 16th. Today's recording, we'll send out any links that I promised you during the session, and we'll send you the PDF of the slides that we're using today. All right. So while we're getting ready to start, I'm excited to continue. We have about another 3.5 hours to go. We'll probably finish between 5:15 and 5:30, and if we go longer, it's because you ask more questions. And Michael, we will be here until tomorrow morning, 5:30. Okay. All right. So, do we have any questions at all from the morning, or any questions that you can think of that that's pressing in your mind? Okay. So we'll get onto our next topic. The next topic is persuasion. Persuasion. Let me ask you this: what does persuasion mean?
How to
Anyone?
turn a no into a yes?
Yeah, I think I'll accept that. Any other definitions? Well, okay, let me ask you this question. Is persuasion easy or hard?
Hard.
It can be hard. Yeah, you're right, Guan Yu. It's actually persuasion is harder than closing.
Yes.
Now that we've gone through half the day already, can you all see why I say that closing is actually easy? Because all of the work is done up front,
Yeah.
right? All of the work is done up front. We have to build the foundation first. Okay, persuasion to me is using everything within legal and moral reasons, using everything in your skills, your tools, your mindset, your skill set in order to convince someone, okay, to take your product or service, and what you're really doing is you're making them take an action that they don't want to take. All right, I'll explain that in a quick sec. All right, trying to convince them to take an action that they don't want to take, or they have a fear that they might regret. Let me touch on this a little bit. All right, have you ever, ladies here, gentlemen, everybody has bought a shirt or a tie or a pair of shoes. Ladies, you've ever bought a dress or an outfit? Yes, yes. Raise your hand. Thumbs up if it's yes. Okay. You know that you want to buy a shirt. You know that you want to buy a shirt, and you go to the boutique, right? You go to the boutique, right? And then you walk in and you see, hey, it's all shirts and suits, or it's all dresses, whatnot, right? Then the sales lady or the sales guy comes up. What do they say? They come to you. What do they say?
Can I
What
help
do they
you?
say?
This one looks good on
Right.
you.
Actually, they don't say, "Can I help you?" Right? They actually say, "Can I help you?" Can I help you? Right? Whoever and that's worldwide. That phrase, "Can I help you?" is worldwide. You can go in and buy a watch, shoes, car, anything. Yeah. They always start with, "Can I help you?" The person that invented that phrase, "Can I help you?" I wish I could find them, hunt them down, beat them up, and shoot them. Okay? Because you're going to buy the shirt, the shoes, the watch, and when they say, "Can I help you?" what do we normally answer?
No, no, no. It's okay. It's okay.
Right? I'm just looking. I'm just browsing. No need. We Do you know why? It's because our defenses come up.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to understand that every prospect that you talk to, even if they initiate the conversation, their defenses are always up. And I learned this when I was a lot younger, when I was 25. When I was 25, one of my first sales jobs was selling cars. Okay, and what we were taught to say is, when someone comes into the dealership, we were taught to say, "Hi, afternoon. I'm Chris. Welcome to XYZ Toyota. Can I help you find something?" All right, and the normal answer was, "No, no, no, just looking." And then my thought was, we don't sell milk here. We don't sell dogs here. We don't sell groceries, we only sell cars. So if you're looking, you must be looking for cars. Now, this interaction is very average worldwide. Okay, it's worldwide because we are afraid of change. We don't want to spend money because have you ever bought something? Have you ever like you bought a car that you your dream car, right? All of us have ever bought a car, and then we take possession of the car and we drive off for the first time. Every single time that I've bought a car myself, it's always like, oh no, what did I do? That's called buyer's remorse. We all have that. It's natural. All right. So when we have that kind of interaction, it does a couple things. It does not allow us to be in sync with the prospect, and more than that, it drilled me. It made me feel like, another one. It's like, you're here to look at cars. Just let me help you. And then I realized that it's not them. Every buyer, even me, does that. Everybody does it. So what do we need to do? We need to change right from the very beginning. Okay? So instead of saying, can I help you? And, in that instance, the normal response was, I'm just looking. So what I decided to do is I decided to disallow them from saying the words, I'm just looking. Okay? And there's two ways to do it. We can say, can I help you? And they say, just looking. And say, shut up. Stop saying I'm just looking. Or a better way is this. Hi, afternoon. I'm Chris. Welcome to XYZ Toyota. Isn't this a lovely day to be looking at cars? And then they're going, you could see the confusion, and it's like the brain is trying to reboot because they want to say, I'm just looking, but they cannot. They have to agree with me. Or if it's raining or whatever the weather was, they had no choice but to agree. And so now we started on, instead of, can I help you? I'm just looking. And then instead of that, now we became, isn't this a lovely day to be looking at cars? It became, yes, it is. And it became, now we're in sync. So we have to start persuasion right from the very beginning. And I'm going to teach you a couple ways we can do that. Sound good? Yes? Say yes. Okay, awesome. Let me get the training slides up, and then let's jump into this. Okay, there are 6 shortcuts to persuasion. I'm going to go through them for you. We have reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Some of us have heard of some of these. Some of us maybe practice some of these without realizing it. So I'll explain what each one of these are. Okay, reciprocity is the obligation to give when we receive. When someone treats us for lunch, and then we try to pay, but they pay, they say, no, I belanja you today, right? What is our first thought? It's like, the next time that we go and eat, I must treat them back. Correct? Okay, so the reciprocity is we feel obligated to give something back when we receive something. Or, when we get a surprise on our birthday and someone buys us a present or a birthday cake, we make a mental note. When it's their birthday, I got to buy them something back. So that's reciprocity. All right? When we use this, we have to use it in a way that it's not insincere. I'll give you an example. I have this book. Pull it out here. I have this book. Let me stop share real quick. Y'all can see this? Can you hear it? It's a leather-bound journal. I bought cases of. This is my last one. And it's the one that I use for some of my notes. But it looks good, right? Right? It's leather-bound, and if you were to hold it, it feels solid. So I bought cases of these. When I bought it in cases, it cost me $10 a book, 10 US. All right. But when I'm meeting prospects for the first time, introduce myself. This is Chris. Hey, I want to, thank you for, meeting up with me. Oh, awesome. I want to thank you for meeting up with me. and I want to give this to you as a gift. Okay, so it cost me $10. I used to give out 5 or 6 of these a day. So we're talking about 50, 60 US, 200, 250 ringgit equivalent now. This was costing me, 1,000 to 1,500 USD per month to give these out. All right, but the deals that I get were tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, all from something that's $10. All right, so when I give something, it has to have a high perceived value. In fact, the reaction when I give this, right, the reaction when I give it is that their eyes will light up and they'll look at it and they will touch it and then they'll open it and then they will like, wow, this is nice, thanks, Chris. So what happened was I gave them something with a high value that they perceived as like, and I have to let you know that it was very sincere, okay? They perceived as like, wow, this is great. Now, is it going to help you close the deal, or is it going to be the only thing that you need to do to close the deal? No, it's not. All right? But you start off the conversation and the relationship on a very nice footing. You all have watched movies, right? Movies like a young man invites the girl to prom, right? Or invite them on a date, right? What is the stereotype that they have to show up with? Flowers, right? So they give something and it's like, wow, flowers, right? And then it's like, yeah, let's get no. Enough on that. All right? But you understand my point. That's reciprocity. Okay? So let's get on to the training slides again. Then next we have scarcity. Scarcity is, it's like you've had managers, you had trainers tell you, oh, you got to create urgency, you got to create scarcity, but they never tell you how to do it, right? How you do it is you must put in a set of circumstances that bonds you with them. Because if you don't have the rapport, they will not believe that there's urgency or scarcity. Okay, ladies here. Let me stop share real quick. We go into scarcity now. The ladies here, or even gentlemen. Okay, diamonds. Yes, everyone's heard of diamonds, right? What's the phrase? Diamonds are a girl's
Best friend.
Best friend.
best friend. Is that true though?
No.
All the ladies will say, yes, it's true, right? And why are diamonds expensive? Anybody can tell me why diamonds are expensive?
Rare and hard to get. Scarce.
BS. Do you know that diamonds are not scarce at all? It's a marketing ploy by a company called De Beers back in the 30s and the 40s. There's actually an overabundance of diamonds, and what they do is they control the supply. What they did was they did a marketing campaign. I forgot what was the original, but then it evolved into diamonds are a girl's best friend, and they're saying that diamonds are the most rare, the rare stone on earth. Not true. Okay, and I will prove to you it's not true. Okay. Have you ever tried this or heard somebody do it or read somewhere? Somebody buys a diamond from the store. They spend 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, right? Then you take it to another store or you take it to the pawn shop. Okay? Can you still sell it for 20, 30,000?
No way.
No. The value dropped by 60 to 70 to 80% when you try to resell it.
Yeah.
Okay? Diamonds actually are in abundance. So you can create a false scarcity. But you must be careful because the false scarcity that you create, all right, the false scarcity you create must be believable. I'll give you an example. When I have coaching clients, all right, when I do my first strategy call, one of the closes that I use is, because of the intensity and the focus of this coaching program, I can only take on 12 clients at any one time. So I gave the reason and I gave the number. Do you want to be one of the 12 that I work with? So that's the scarcity. Okay. When we go into the different products that we sell, you must figure out how are you going to create scarcity / and or urgency for your particular product or service. All right? Okay, let's get on with the training slides here. Okay, then next we get into the authority. Authority is you must present yourself as knowledgeable. You must, okay, when you talk to a prospect, how do we get authority? The simplest way to get authority is our appearance and our behavior. Okay? Confidence gives the perception of authority. So how do you get confidence? You get confidence by being consistent in what you say and do. And how you get to be consistent in what you say or do is that you have to constantly practice. Because when you practice, it gives you habit. It gives you mastery. And when you have those, or in the process of getting those, you have confidence. And confidence breeds authority. All right? Because people want to deal with, they want to follow, they want to buy from knowledgeable and confident individuals. Okay? So the way to do that is in the way that you present yourself, in the way that you dress, in the way that you put your materials out, in the way that you approach prospects. Okay? When you show that you're professional, it gives them the confidence that, hey, you know what? I think I'm dealing with a professional. And that gives you the authority, right? Now, next we go into the commitment and consistency. Commitment and consistency is the small commitments. You get them to commit yes to something so small, and then you get them to commit to something bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on. This was actually, I call it the yes set. That means you get them to say yes as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, and as often as possible. Because you're training them to get in the habit of agreeing with you and saying yes. And I'll teach you how to do that with a few questions later. Okay? So this started with encyclopedia salesman. All right? Anybody remember what are encyclopedias? Encyclopedias are Google in a book, right? And they didn't sell one book, they sell volumes of encyclopedias, so they were very expensive. And so how they did it was they would send door-to-door salesmen selling encyclopedias. And it was a big investment. It was a huge investment in buying all the volumes, right? So what they did was they would go to a door, they would knock on the door, and you know, the first thing they would say is they would get you to say yes to something so small. And usually the first question was, hi, do you live here? Okay? And you know, who would answer the door 80% of the time, 90% of the time, besides somebody that lived there already, right? So they knock on the door, hey, hi, afternoon, do you live here? Yes. They got the first yes. And then they would ask additional questions that would get them to say yes to something a little bit more and a little bit more, and then finally, before you know it, they're sitting in the living room or they're sitting at the dining table talking about encyclopedias, and then they're writing a check. Okay? Now, the next one is liking. We talked about this earlier. We tend to say yes to the people that we like. Okay? If someone came up to you, let's say at work, let's say a neighbor, whatever, right? Think about this. We all, maybe, right? We all have somebody that we don't like at work. Don't react to that. We all have a neighbor that we probably don't like, right? Maybe, okay? But think of the person that you don't like, and then think of the person that you like. If they came to you with the same request, we would probably say yes a little quicker to the one that we like, rather than the one that we either don't know or we don't like. So how do we get somebody to like us? Okay, we need to show them that we are similar. And how do we show them that we're similar? We talked about it earlier. The building rapport, trust and likability, the speech rate, the mirror matching, the pacing, the leading, and not disagreeing with them. Okay, And I'm not saying just give a yes, yes, like be a yes man, but agree with them initially. You have to agree with them initially before you can start to change someone's mind. Okay? We like people that compliment us, right? We don't like people that say, "Hey, you're fat. Hey, your hair sucks," and we don't like that. We like people that compliment us. If you listen back to the video, I've complimented as many of you as I can, as sincerely as I can. All right, and every compliment that I give or that I pay to someone is absolutely sincere and is absolutely true. All right, and I shared this story about Ronald Reagan earlier. So that's that concept. Don't give a false flattery. Don't lie. Give a sincere compliment. If let's say you visit someone, hey, that's a nice pen. Even something as simple as that is a compliment. And we love people who cooperate with us, right? That's why when someone asks a question, never say no. Never say no. Always agree initially. Okay? Then the next is consensus. We follow the actions of others. That's why testimonials, referrals, okay, are such a strong point of persuasion. Okay, so those are the six things of the six shortcuts to persuasion, and I did not invent this. What I'll do is I'll spell it out for you now. Well, I'll say it and then I'll spell it. If you want to read, there's a whole book just on these six shortcuts. If I recall, the title of the book is Secrets to Persuasion, if I recall. All right, but you can search for this, and the author of the book is a doctor, psychologist. His name is Cialdini, Robert Cialdini, Robert Cialdini, Cialdini. So you can search for that book, and you can learn all the ins and outs of these six shortcuts. Okay. The next thing is, in persuasion, you have to know what your competition is doing. The reason you got to know is because you got to have an intelligent conversation on why they're apples and why you are oranges. All right, and then develop high value offers. High value offers does not mean cheapening it down. What it means is that you add in things that have a high perceived value, or alternatively, to get them to persuade them to say yes in the right direction, is you create bite-sized offerings. Bite-sized offerings is like a free trial, a small order, or a powerful guarantee. And then your marketing materials. Your marketing materials, you have to think of this. You can have something that looks beautiful, or you can have something that is highly effective. Okay, we'll go into the highly effective very, very shortly. When I say that, we have to start this off with, you have to focus more on benefits. So let's do this first. We need to get the benefits down correctly. Okay, we have two things. We have features and benefits. We've all heard of features and benefits, yes? Okay, so let's do this. Can anybody, tell me what's a feature and what's a benefit? Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I can give it a try. So I will
Sure.
use, by the way, everybody can hear me clearly, yes?
Yes.
Excellent,
Yes.
thank you. So I'm going to use my own business as a case
Right.
study. I'll be talking
Okay.
about the feature, and then let's talk about the benefit, all right?
All right.
So for the benefit of all of you, I run a company called Thriving Talents. So we are a talent development company that helps organizations and leaders to motivate and mobilize their millennials generation of staff to be more productive and profitable in their work. All right. So let's talk about features. So if I were to talk about features, normally when a client were to ask me, so what type of training you do? And we can say that, we do training on leadership, especially catered towards the younger generation of your staff. We do business activation training, sales, marketing type of training. Again, one more time, catered to your younger Gen Y, Gen Z generation of staff. We do our training through experiential learning. We have bite-sized learning. We have virtual team engagement. In case for those of you who have staff who is working so long at home, we have 18 simulations for our virtual team engagements that have been trialed and tested by companies like Coca-Cola, Microsoft, and whatnot. So that's features, I believe. Let's talk about
Right.
benefits. I think benefits, what I understand, Chris, it's the why. So why, in a sense, why would I want to invest for my staff to actually go for a virtual team bonding? And then the why here is based on the testimonials and the reviews we have received, even from like Malaysia Airlines, who engages to do a virtual team engagement for all 800 of their staff.
Right.
They have reported higher levels of morale. They have
Okay.
reported empathy in a sense where they begin to understand that the management, despite being in the MCO, is putting effort to try to engage the staff. And because of higher morale, because they have developed empathy, it has resulted in people extending their stay, for example, in MAS, extending their stay in MAS for a few more months. This was last
Okay.
year. This was last year. So
Okay.
that is how I differentiate features and benefit. Features is what we can do. Benefit is why we do it and why does it matter to you. Am I right, Chris?
Okay. You're close to my definition. All right. I would throw in something into the mix. I would throw in these letters: WIIFM. Anybody heard of WIIFM? CP, you've heard of it, right? What is WIIFM?
What is in it for me?
Right. So, what is in it for me? The what is in it for me, if we translate it into something that's real world, is like, why should I care what this training is? What I care about is what this training will do for me, or for my company, or for my staff. So we need to get that extremely clear. Does that make sense? But awesome job, Michael. Okay, so we're clear on features and benefits, because a lot of sales professionals, what they like to do is like, I'll use Michael's explanation earlier as an example, right? Oh, we do 18 simulations. We do this, we do this, we do this. We talk to your millennials. It's like, fuck lah. You're looking at a menu or what, right? So it's like, why don't you see? You can go to a cheap restaurant and they give you a menu and they go, here's what you can order. But when you go to a Michelin starred restaurant, okay, they will say, this is what I recommend. Okay, I recommend this and this. And then, how many times have you gone to a restaurant that is not very good? And there's so many of them, right? And then you ask the waiter, hey, how's the steak? Hey, how's the chicken? How's the this? And then, what is their normal answer? It's good. Okay. Oh, not sure. This is their normal answer. All right. When you go to a proper restaurant, oh, the steak is da 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 da, and then they explain, and it's juicy. You're going to really enjoy it, especially if you like having tender meat. Okay. So you need to explain what is the benefit to the consumer, benefit to the prospect, because people do not buy features. I'll give you a very clear example. I use this. Okay, this is a pencil case that I hold my pens. All right, so it's leather. So a feature of this is that this pencil case is leather, or actually it's not a pencil case. It's a pen holder, right? So this pen holder is made of leather. What does it do? What it does is it protects my expensive pens. Okay, it keeps them clean, and so the benefit is that my pens will last longer. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Okay, so you have to go through a feature and benefit exercise for your company, for your products and your services. All right? We can say that, oh, you know what? This is a 8-hour webinar training. We're going to teach you this and teach you this and teach you this. Those are all the features. The benefits are, I'll teach you how to close without closing. I'll teach you how to make closing the easiest part in the sales process so that you don't have to bang your head and waste your time and get all frustrated, okay, when dealing with prospects that are not qualified, have no interest, and have no money. So that's the benefit. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Okay, so, okay, let me get back to the training slides. You know what? I forgot to ask you all this one. Okay, so when we go into benefits, right, we go into, hold on, yeah, let me just shift this out. Okay, when we go into benefits, right, it's how we make, what is the benefit they get? What is the benefit to them of considering to get your product and service? So let me ask you this question: do we make decisions based on logic or emotion? If it's based on logic, put up one hand. If it's emotion, put up two hands. Logic or emotion? Okay, awesome. You're all absolutely right. All right. However, we make decisions based on emotion and we justify it with logic. Or we make decisions based on logic and we justify it with emotion. Logic is what? Is logic features or benefits? Is logic features or benefits?
Features.
Correct, Guan Yu. Emotion then is benefit. There are some people that feel comfortable with buying from you, but they need to justify it with the logic. There are some people that buy based on the logic, but it makes them feel comfortable. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel secure. So we have to sell using both. Now, but let's talk about emotions. Which is stronger? Which is stronger to sell? Selling with logic or selling with emotion?
Emotion.
Correct. So let's get back to the training slides, yeah? Okay. So emotion and logic. What we have to do is we generally we have to hit the emotion and we have to follow with the logic, or the other way around, depending on their personality. If we find that they are, and this is stereotyping, yeah, this is stereotyping. Generally, with accountants, engineers, mathematicians, we must start with the logic, and then we must hit the. We must start with the logic, and we have to hit with the emotion. And then we have to, the other way around is we hit with the emotion and then we justify it with the logic. So the emotions that we feel are these here. Okay? I'm not going to go through each one because you can certainly add more. Now, let's go into this one. We've all heard of gaining pleasure and avoiding pain, right? Correct? All right, it's like the typical sales technique. Emphasize the pleasure, avoid the pain, right? Now, which one do you think is a stronger emotion? Getting pleasure or avoiding pain? Which one's stronger?
Avoiding pain.
Okay, but how do we normally sell? How do we know that avoiding pain is a stronger selling, a buying motivation? But where do we normally focus on?
We focus on their problems, their pain points, and then tell them how this can eliminate all of that.
Right, that's the right thing to say. But most of us will try to sell the pleasure. You're going to get this, you're going to get this. If you buy from me, you're going to get this benefit. Right? What we have to do is we have to sell both. And the way to sell both, I'll illustrate this with an example. Let's see, which is my next victim? Volunteer. Nadrul, can you put your microphone on?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, awesome. So let's say we're walking, you and me, we're buddies, yeah? And we're walking down a road, and then we come across this bridge, and the bridge is very narrow, And then we look over the bridge, yeah, Nadrul, and then it said, damn, that's a long way down. It's a long way down to the river. And then I tell you, Nadrul, I've got 100,000 in this briefcase here. If you jump, I give you this 100,000. What would you do? It's a long way down.
First, I'll ask you to prove the money first.
Okay?
If there is money, if I find it worthful for me to jump, I'll evaluate. Then I'll make the decision. If
Right.
not, yep.
Right. Interesting. Let's think about his answer. Okay? I was trying to give him pleasure. Correct? Right? And he still had to think about it, and then he's giving me all kinds of like variables, and I need to check, and he's giving me all. Long story, correct or not, Nadrul? All right. Let me change the story just a little bit, yeah. Okay. We're walking down the road. We come to the same bridge, the same distance down to the river. All right. But we're halfway through the bridge. All of a sudden, a lorry comes. The lorry has lost control. It cannot stop, and the lorry is going to hit you unless you jump off the bridge. What would you do?
Jump off the bridge.
Jump off the bridge, no hesitation. You're gaining the pleasure. You had to think, and you had to analyze. You had to la. Long story, Trita, right? But when it came to avoiding pain, your decision was instantaneous. And that's what we have to do. Can I teach you how to do that? I cannot teach you that in general. You have to figure out how are you going to get someone to avoid pain. But I will share with you a couple questions or a couple things that I say. Okay? First, I will not tell you that you have the problem. I will get you to tell me that you have a problem. Okay? And then, once I am able to do that, that's where the rapport and the persuasion comes in. That's where the audio, the visual, the kinesthetic comes in. That's where I portray myself as the answer to your problems comes in. Okay? All those things have to come in. Because if you don't have that, you cannot be strong enough to tell them that, hey, you're going to get hit if you don't do this. All right? But this is what I say. I get them to tell me the problem. I get them to get it out. All right? Or if I cannot do it, then I will bring the problem up, and then I'll get them to agree that is a problem. So either way, we end up at the same point, right? Then the next thing that I ask is, what's going to happen if you don't fix it? How much more money you're going to lose? How much more time? How much share? Is your family going to be safe? Whatever those questions are, and then it will hit them, and you will see it. When you have this line of questioning, you will see it in their face and their eyes, and you will hear it in their answers to you. Because to avoid pain, we don't like to bring pain up. But if we need to persuade these prospects, we must bring the pain up so that we can solve it for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes.
I say, even in a simple role play with Nadrul, even though I was trying to load everything to get the correct answers that I want, all right, the pleasure was like, oh, you still have to think. Normally people don't think that long. They will say, hell no, I won't jump even, if there's a chance I'll die. Normal people will say that, so you're a special Nadrul. Okay? But nobody goes, oh, wait, the lorry's coming, I'm going to die, I need to think about. Nobody does that. Everybody, I'll jump. Because we need to avoid the pain. So you need to bring that into your conversation. Oh, okay. Michael, for example. Oh, you know what? Millennials, It's like, yeah, sometimes we have a problem getting our millennials to, work a little bit harder. Hey, interesting that you say that. I've heard many clients tell me that. How long have you had this problem? Okay? And what do you think is costing the company on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis? Are you guys ready to stop losing that money now? Or do you want to continue losing it? All right? Okay. So let's get back to our training slides. You guys like everything so far? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
It's like rubbing salt on the wound for them.
Yes. Um, there's this analogy before we go into the slides. Yeah, you all know like ulcers in the mouth, right? It hurts, doesn't it? Most people, what they do is they like leave it until it goes away. What do you call those things again? Kun Yu? Ulcer, mouth ulcer, Chinese. How do you say it? And then some people use the green powder, right? You know green powder, CP.
Watermelon powder or something.
Yes, the watermelon powder is like bitter, right? Do you
Yeah.
know? Do you know what's the most effective way to fix a mouth ulcer? I'll teach you now. Anybody know? I'll teach you the most effective way. Since you brought up rubbing salt in the wound, Kuan Yu, you take salt and you rub it in, and you rub it and you scrape it until it bleeds. Within 24 hours, it's gone. Or within 24 hours, you feel better. In 48 hours, it's gone.
Okay.
All right. Rather than putting the powder, people gargle with salt, and then it's like, oh, just do it. All right. Okay. So anyway, let's see. Let's go into okay. So gain pleasure and profit, avoid loss and pain, and we covered features and benefits. Now let's get into let's get into options. Options. Okay. This is what it means. Option one. One option, two options, three options. When you're selling something, when you give only one option, they can say yes or no. And what they found is that in a study, when you give only one option, they can say yes or no. The chances of closing is 10 to 20%. That means when you give only one option, they can answer yes or no. All right. When you give two options, you can have this is option A and option B. That jumps up to about 40+%. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. When you go into three options, the low, the medium, or the high. All right. The low, the medium, or the high. Option A, B, or C. Which do you think they choose the most? They usually choose the middle most often, and the second most often is they'll choose the higher. So, for example, in class A, class B, class C, all right, they will choose class B more often, and then class A, all right. If you offer beginner level, intermediate level, professional level, most will choose the intermediate, and then the second most will be professional. It's something to do with out of the three, they choose the one with the most value. Now, this is normal human behavior. How can you ensure that they choose the middle or the higher? What you do is you load the middle option with all the best things that you can give so that it makes the most sense. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes? Okay. So you choose option B. You get them to choose option B by loading in, overloading option B with all the value. Okay. The next style of persuasion, or the next part of persuasion, is we instead of saying that you're the prospect, I'm the seller. What we want to do is we want to transition it so that we're on the same side. In a face-to-face, it's actually a little bit easier because you can do physical. And when I meet a prospect, I will do everything that I can. I will do everything that I can to make sure when I sit with them especially the first time, that I'm not sitting across the table from them. What I will always try to do is I'll try to get them to sit perpendicular to me. That means if the table is like this, I try to sit here, and then they sit here. Make sense? Even better if you're sitting on the same side of the table. If you can get them to sit perpendicular to you at your left or your right, or if you can sit on the same side of the table, that's actually more ideal. Okay? Now, in line with that, we want to change our language. Instead of I or you, it's we or us. Okay? For example, instead of saying, how much budget do you think you can allocate to this? All right? you want to say something like, "Hey, what do you think? How much do you think we can get the budget allocation for us, right?" So now it's like you're on the same side, all right? Instead of saying, "How much did you want to spend?" Change that to invest. In fact, one of my favorites is, "Oh wow, it's like I don't want to spend that much. I don't want to spend that much." We all hear that, right? And one of my favorite ways to counter that one is, well, don't think of it so much as the money that you're spending, but the money that you're investing. All right, and then budget allocate. If you can, at all possible, eradicate the word but out of your sales and business vocabulary. You will find that if you replace but with and, okay. Michael, yeah, remind me on that, yeah, on the options idea, okay. Replace but with and. Now, in some cases, grammatically, it doesn't fit the rule. However, most people won't realize it. And then instead of saying, let's say they ask for a discount, "Oh, what if I were able to give you a discount? What if we were able to? What if?" And then you give, a hypothetical. What if I was able to? Does it make sense? Okay. Now, let's go into this one. Michael, do you want to share your options thing first before we move on?
Thank you. Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Okay, Chris, talking about the option 1, 2, 3,
Right.
and I want to, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So talking about options 1, 2, 3, right? And you talk about a point where you said always try to be at the client side. Okay. You want to show the client that you are on the same team with them. So I just thought I want to
Okay.
share briefly a personal experience of mine. So
Right.
as I presented, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
listening.
So as I presented option 1, 2, 3, so option 3 is normally the premium, right? And then B is the budget that the client has, and then A is like below the budget. At least that's what we're doing. So what
Right.
happened was, as I was talking to the client,
So
and
which do you present first?
which one I present first, is it?
Right.
Okay, so I presented the option B first. That's what I do. I
Okay.
present the option
Okay.
B, and then the client was like, "Oh, cool." Then obviously, then I present the option C, which is like the premium, and then the economical option A. Now, what happened was, I don't know whether this is stupidity or something. So when I continue to talk to the client, you could see where
Ah.
the client is considering the premium option. But
Right.
I don't know, for me, for that particular client, I know they do not need the premium option because
Okay.
they are all field salespeople. The premium option is offering them to have access to our e-learning system.
Mm.
I know for salespeople, it's very tough for you to tie them down to learn for the next 6 months over e-learning platform. So the
Mm.
client was like, "Hey, I think I want to explore option C." And that incident, Chris, I actually talked the client out of option C. I said,
Mm.
"Hey, Mr. Prospect, Mr. Client, thank you. I know that's why people say, maybe this is not a good business decision for me as an entrepreneur, but I always treat you as a partner. Can I just tell you this? Option C, I don't think you need it because it's there, but all your people are field salespeople. And then the client looked at me and he thought about it for a while. He said, "Michael, that's the one thing I love about you. You are very honest. That's why you're
Mm.
right. That's why we are partners in this. Okay, we will go with option B." So again,
Mm.
he eventually went with option B. But what is your take on a move like that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I would always present the more expensive option first. Always. Okay. The reason I would present the most expensive option first is to get them to raise their internal price point. We call it the theory of relativity. No, it's in relation to. You see, if I tell you, okay, I'll give you an example. Uh, if I tell you, so we have these two pens. Which one do you think is a bit more expensive?
I think the black one.
The black one is a little bit more expensive. This is cheap. This is expensive. Okay, so this is probably 1,004, 1,005 ringgit, whatever it is, around there. This is, I think, $2,
Yep.
right? So then I have, let's say I have this now. Okay, this is also an expensive pen. This one is probably about 700 or 800. All right, and that's why I have this to protect them. So if I want to sell you this, I'll engineer it in such a way that I'll present you this first.
Mm.
And I won't ask for a decision just yet, and then I will show you this. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
Now, if you want to engineer for them to pick option B, then what you do is you load option B, that if anybody that looks at option B, they will say, shit, this has the most value.
Mm.
Okay, I'll give you another example. I go to Tesco. Okay, I buy the Tesco soap powder. Okay, do you think, which one is the best deal? Do you think a Tesco soap powder at 3 kg, at 5 kg, or 8 kg is the best deal? Is the best value?
Of course, it's the 8 kg, I would imagine.
I would think so as well. So here's my point. They sell it in 3 kg, 5 kg, and 8 kg. Okay? Everybody thinks that the 8 kg is the best deal. And when I go to the shelf, it's like the 8 kg packs have the least amount left. But what I did was I pull out my phone and I calculate the price. I'll tell you the price. The 3 kg, I forgot the actual price, okay? But the 3 kg, if you divide the price by 3 kg, it comes up to 289, 2 ringgit and 89 cents per kg. Okay? If you take the 8 kg, it comes up to 297.
Wow.
So it's more expensive. It's more expensive to buy in bulk. The best deal was the 5 kg, where it came up to 260, 264, 265, around there. Okay?
Right.
So there's no logic to that. I didn't understand that. So we put that aside first. Okay? So what we want to do is, when we present three options, we want to make the one that we want to sell, and we want to load the one that we want to sell, so that it's like a no-brainer to pick option B. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if they needed to buy option B, because I don't think that you expected them to even say, oh yeah, option C is right for us in your example, correct?
Yeah, I didn't.
Right? So to ensure, because what happened is that then you thought, you panicked a little bit, or you had some doubts a little bit. It's like, shit, yeah, I can sell option C, but in the future they're going to be unhappy, blah, blah, blah. Whatever those consequences
exactly.
were,
Yes.
you don't want to have those thoughts in your head when you're selling. So you engineer it in such a way that they will never pick option A, and they will never pick option C,
Yeah.
and they must pick option B.
Right.
Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen?
Yep.
Guys, yes, makes sense? Okay. And it takes a little bit of work, and it takes a little bit of time to figure it out.
Mm. Mm. Got
Okay?
it. Thanks, Chris.
Okay? Okay.
Got it.
So, let's see. Okay, so we're into here. Okay. Let me get back to the slides here. Okay. Now, we can tell people what to do without telling them what to do. And that's what we call the hidden command, the control of the conversation, and then to control the conversation and to not get sidetracked, you bring up the objections first, and then the next step is you agree and you confirm the next step. Now, I'll go through each one a little bit for you. All right, a hidden command is this. Let me think how to explain it properly first. Okay. Now, okay. So let me ask you this question first. What do y'all think is a hidden command? Anybody have any guesses?
I should give others a chance to try.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Influence.
Yes, you're right, CP. Do you know? I've been giving y'all hidden commands right from the very beginning, from this morning. Okay, I've been giving y'all instructions whether you realize it or not, and it's really to help you. But I'll give you a simple example. When you listen to the recording again, when I introduce the program, some of you don't know me, correct? Some of you don't know me, right? What I did was I gave you an instruction to believe everything that I say. Listen to the recording later, or when you get it. From the very beginning, I gave you an instruction to believe everything I say. And I also gave you an instruction to like me, whether you realize it or not. All right? This is how effective it is. I can tell you what I did, okay? And it doesn't lower the effect. And this is how you do it, okay? There's two ways to do it, okay? I will tell you exactly what I did. So in the introduction, I said, you don't have to believe everything I say. Do you remember that?
Yep.
So I gave you the instruction to believe everything that I say. And I've been reinforcing that. Okay? I also told you in the very beginning that you don't have to like and trust Chris. I gave you the instruction to like and trust me. And I've been reinforcing that up to this point. I can safely, with 90 to 95% probability, I can safely say with 90 to 95% probability that you do like me, that you do have some level of trust on me, because I've backed up everything that I say, and I started with the foundation, believe everything I say, and trust and like Chris. Okay? And you can do that in your conversations. For example, somebody has a problem, and you want to tell them that this is your lucky day to have met me. But it's very arrogant. Okay, Kwan Yu, we practice a little bit. We role play a little bit, okay?
Okay.
So it's very arrogant if I tell you, hey, Kwan Yu, you got this problem. You're so lucky to meet me today. Then I sound like a dick, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
But what if I told you, Kwan Yu, I said, hey, Kwan Yu, you know what? Your situation reminds me of one of my best clients that I met 3-4 months ago. Exact same problem that you have, and we managed to solve it for them. And I was having coffee with them last week, and you know what he told me, Kwan Yu? He said, Chris, I am so lucky to have met you. Okay? Do you see the difference? I'm giving the same message, but I'm giving it to you in a different context, because in one where I say that, hey, dude, you're lucky to meet me, yeah, it's like I sound like a dick.
Yeah.
But I'm giving you the same message in a story with the hidden command telling you that you are lucky to meet me, Kwan Yu.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Now I feel like I want to be lucky like the client you had just now.
Correct. Because if I tell you, hey, you're lucky to meet me, inside your mind it's like, meow, whatever. Okay? Right?
Yep.
But if I say that somebody else said it, it's like, I want to be lucky like them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the power of hidden command. In fact, I will tell you, I will share with you another technique. You don't need to say everything. What is stronger is if they use their imagination we call it imagination to fill in the gaps. Okay, everybody put your video on. Do not put your mic on, because I want to look at your reactions as I'm telling you. Okay, and there's a reason for it. All right, so clear your mind, and I want you to think that you're walking down the road towards your house. You're walking down the road towards your house. You go up to the front door, and you enter the front door. You go into the living room, and you see the TV is on. Okay, and then you feel hungry, and you go to the fridge, and you open it up, and you eat something. We got it? Yes? Okay, put your I, I'll ask you to answer, and I'll get you to, I'll call on you if you raise your hand, or I'll call you and then you unmute yourself and then you give me the answer. Okay? So, how many of you were walking down the road? Just raise your hand. Everybody, because I told you to do that, right? When you go to your front door, what color is the front door? Hamid, what color is the front door? That you imagine. Huh?
White?
Did I tell you it's a white door?
No.
Who gave you the right to say it's a white door? Your imagination filled in the gap. Now you walked in your living room. This is where it gets more interesting. You go into the living room. There's a sofa there, yes or no? How many of you have sofa there in the living room? What color was the sofa?
Green.
Green, okay. I mentioned about the TV, right? The TV was on, yes? What did you see on the TV? Anybody saw something on the TV that was on? What did you see, Hamid?
My favorite show, the Big Bang Story. No, the Big
The
Bang
what
Show.
what?
The Big Bang.
The what?
It's on Netflix. The Big Bang Show.
Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory? Yeah. So, did I put it there or did you put it there?
I put it there.
You put it there, right. Okay. Then you felt hungry, right? And then you go to the kitchen. I said, open the fridge and eat something. What did you eat, Hamid? Hamidi, right? Yeah, what did you eat?
Rice.
Okay, what kind of rice?
Fried rice.
Okay. Anybody eat something different than fried rice? What did you eat, Kwan Yu?
Korean fried chicken.
Okay. King Fai, what did you eat?
Cookies.
Sorry?
Cookies.
Cookies. Okay. Your mind fills in the gaps. You see, as salespeople, as sales professionals and business professionals, we think that we have to tell them everything. We don't, When we start to tell them everything, then it's like we're talking too much. All we need to do is put a few things in their head and they will fill in the gaps. I'll drive it home this way. Okay? I will order you not to think of this and you will think of it. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now, do not think of a pink elephant. You cannot. I'm going to prove it another way. Okay? I want you to listen to me, yeah? I want you to imagine the last time that you had a lemon. What does it taste like? Did you feel that? When I said lemon? Yeah, sour. Okay? We use these words, yeah, to elicit a certain emotion. And we're able to do that with the hidden commands and the control of the conversation. And we control the conversation and we command them without them realizing it. One of the things that you need to know how to do is to be able to instruct them to do it without coming across as an instruction and making them believe that it's their idea. And when you can do that, you will find that your income is literally unlimited. Okay? Let's get back to this. So, I'm going to teach you how you can do that. Do you want that? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Awesome. We do that by asking them open-ended questions, by asking them questions, yes questions, that get them to say yes, and we ask them questions to get them to say no, because we are human beings. All of us are human beings. Yes or no? Raise your hand if human being. Yeah, okay. I think one or two of you did not raise your hand, but that's okay. We love to say no. In fact, in a buying or selling situation, we are predisposed to say no. All right. So there are questions that you can ask that will get them to say no, which is what they want to say anyway, but it actually means yes. Okay? In the next slide, I'll share with you how to do that. Then you have what's called future-paced questions. Future-paced questions is you project them into the future by using the word imagine. Imagine that you were able to solve this problem. What would that affect revenue? Would that affect profitability? Let's say you got this. How would your family feel about you? Things like that. So future-paced. Okay. So then we get into how we get them to say yes, and then I'll teach you how to get them to say no. All right. When you want to ask a question, you don't just go, "Hey," and then the question, right? You want to prepare them for the question, and you want to prepare them for the question by saying, "Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this." When you say that, "Let me ask you a question," the mind gets prepared to receive a question, and the mind is prepared to give an answer to the question. It's just like saying, imagine this. And then, when there's something magical about the word imagine, because when you tell someone imagine this, I don't know what happens. It's like the brain opens up or something happens where they get ready to receive that instruction to imagine this. Okay? So how do you get them to say yes? Isn't it? This is a nice pen. Isn't it? Right? You'd want to have a higher level of income. Isn't that right? Or is that right? You can see that by adding this skill into your business, you could possibly make more money. You would agree with that, right? And then, very simply, sound fair, sound good. Now, if you're trying to get them to say no, a very simple way to do it is if you were to increase your income, you wouldn't be upset with that, would you? Oh no, I wouldn't be, right? So they're actually saying yes. Okay. Now this is where we get into the benefit statements, and this is how we load the question. Okay. Loading the question means you're telling them something that if they say no to it, they're idiots. Okay? So, let me ask you this question. If you were to get higher income, more clients, and more profits, you'd be interested in this, wouldn't you? What idiot would say, "No, I'm not interested in more clients, more income, and more profit"? This is how you do a force yes. Okay? And the more yeses you get, the probability of you closing the deal goes a lot higher. If you were to get more deals, increase revenue for your firm, and get every employee motivated in your company, you'd want all of these things, right? And you see the way that I phrase the question. Listen to this recording again. All right. It's like I'm painting a picture with my words. If you were to get more profits, and then I draw out my words, and I lower my voice, and I lower my volume, and I lean in, almost like we're conspirators. Like I'm sharing a secret. It's like if you were to get more clients, more revenue, and every employee in your company was motivated, you'd want all of these things, right? Okay, and that's how you phrase it, because what we do is like, hey, you can get more clients, you can get more revenue. So how? That's how we close, right? Now, then we go into future pace. Future pace is you're asking them to imagine the future using your solution. Can you see yourself? And then, you fill in the blank. And then you don't even need to be so specific in the things that you're telling them. It can be as simple as you're walking down the street You come up to the door, you walk in the living room, you feel hungry, and you eat something. Their mind will fill in the blanks. And if their mind fills in the blanks, that means they're already living it. Okay? And if they're living it, the brain, the human brain, cannot really tell the difference between an imagined event and a real event. So you're asking them to imagine. Can you see yourself? Can you imagine this? Do you like what you hear so far? Can you feel comfortable doing this? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you be more persuasive. You can be more persuasive in the first call, in discovery call, when you do, let's say TNA, training needs analysis, or CP. You would love this in your TNAs, right? You can do it in a one-on-one presentation. Let's say you sell insurance, you sell personal services. If you're selling to a committee, if you're selling to a board, you get all of these people involved in the engagement and the questions that you asked. Okay? Any questions so far before we move on to the next topic? Any questions? If you have questions, if you have no questions right now, write your questions down, and then you can ask later. Okay? Now, we're going to cover handling objections. Who loves handling objections? Yeah. I will tell you this with no arrogance. I handle objections confidently, professionally, and masterfully. Not because I'm intelligent, even though I am. Not because I'm good looking, even though I am. Okay? The reason I can handle the objections masterfully, confidently, and professionally is because I practice that shit every single day. There is no other reason. Alright? Y'all heard of Bruce Lee? Remind me to tell you what, or share with you what Bruce Lee said. But let me cover this first. Even though I handle objections professionally, confidently, and masterfully, I hate it. I hate it when they give me an objection. I want to knock them on the head. I want to slap them, and I want to say, "Are you stupid?" That's what I want to say. Okay? But I realize that I cannot say that. I cannot say that. Have I ever said it? I think I may have done it a couple times. Are you stupid? Okay? I don't think we have time for that story. I have ever said that once in my whole sales career. It's like, actually I didn't say you're stupid. What I said was, what makes you think you're going to be smarter tomorrow than you are right now? So basically what I said was, are you stupid? Right? I didn't get the deal on that one. Okay? So, it's normal for us to feel, you idiot, when someone gives us an objection. It's normal. It's very normal. Okay? The difference is how you respond on the outside and how you handle the objection. Okay? We won't go too much into the theory of objections, but I will run through a couple of the slides, and you can read definitions and whatnot. Okay, so sometimes I ask, is it good or bad to get objections? If we want to make ourselves feel good, we will say, oh, it's good to get objections because it gives us the opportunity. Whatever. Here's what I want to tell you about objections. Okay, objections is anything that they tell you that prevents a smooth closing of the deal. Okay? We don't like objections. We already established that. And we can say we don't like, we can say we are afraid. You see, the reason we're afraid of objections is because we don't know how to respond correctly, professionally, confidently, and masterfully. Now, before we go into objections, I want to cover this. Okay? There's a difference between an objection and a condition. A condition is a circumstance that exists that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you cannot solve the situation. For example, Michael, you said you train companies, you specialize in companies with millennials, correct? Is that right? Yes, okay. So, if they tell you we got no millennials, every single one of our employee is over 60 years old, and they're all set in their ways, and there's nothing that we can do, nothing we can say that would ever change them. Is that a good prospect? Yes or no? Shake your head. Shake your head. No. Nod your head if it's yes. Okay. So no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you cannot do a millennial training for that company. Correct? So I'm being facetious, and I'm playing a little bit, but that is a condition. So a condition, once again, is something there that you cannot overcome, out of your control. For example, you want to sell this program, you want to sell this product, you want to sell this service, but they got no freaking money. No matter what you do, they just have no money. And that's a condition. Okay? They tell you the price is too high, they don't have the budget, and they really, really mean it. That's a condition. Okay? Why do we need to get really, really good? Why do we need to get really good at handling objections? Can anybody share with me? Anybody share with me? Raise your hand. Why we must be good at handling objections? Can I give you the answer? Yes? Just nod your head if it's yes. Can I give you the answer? Yes?
Because
the answer
you
is
will
very...
always get rejected. Someone.
Very sorry?
You will always
Right.
get objections.
Correct. Because buyers are objection-giving professionals. Buyers and your prospects are professionals at giving objections. If your buyers are objection-giving professionals, we must become objection-handling professionals. Because every idiot that you talk to for the first time will give you an objection. Hi, morning, my name is Chris calling from, not interested. Hello, right? Correct or not? Hi, my name is Chris, I'm calling from XYZ company, and we don't have the budget. The fuck? I didn't even say anything. Do you experience that?
Karma, I do that a lot too.
Yeah, you do that a lot because, hey, here, okay, maybe I'll mention this later, yeah? Do you know what is karma? Okay, this is what I do not do. I do not do this. I do not give fake objections. I do not slow pay. I do not avoid calls from salespeople. Okay, the reason I don't lie to salespeople, if it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. The reason that I don't do these four main things is because I don't want them to do it to me when I'm the salesperson. Okay, this is called karma. If you don't do these things and they do it to you, you have the right to get angry. But if you do these things and they do it to you, you know what? 应该吗? Right? Okay? That's called karma. Okay, so we must become objection handling professionals. So how do we do that? We learn, and we practice, and we implement. Okay? I taught a company in the Philippines. Their sales team is about 18, 20 people. They're a little bit more normal in their business operations than here because we all still have to work from home, correct? Over there, they can work already, all right? So what we did was, when we think of your company, when you pass by in the corridor or you walk here and there, you see coworkers, right? What do you normally say to coworkers?
Hi.
Afternoon, hi. In that company, what I taught them is they're not allowed to say hi. They're not allowed to say hello, how are you, sudah makan. They're not allowed to say that. Do you know what they say instead? They walk towards each other. One of them will say, I'm not interested. And then they have to respond. I understand you're not interested, and then they do that. And then they have daily practices on how they practice their objections. Okay? And when you do this, what happens then? It becomes second nature. It becomes part of you. Okay? I can tell you that I can handle pretty much any objection. Whether successfully or not is a different story, because it really depends on the situation and all those things. But I can tell you that I've heard every single objection over the last 30 years, and I've developed, okay, in every industry there's about 7 to 12 basic objections. What we did was we created a list of 31. My cousin is an agent, or my uncle supplies this. I need to check with my husband, my wife, my partner, my boss, my co-workers, my psychic. I need to pray about it. Okay, the price is too high. We don't have the budget. It's too expensive. Don't have the money. Cannot use credit card. Not interested. Don't have the time. The time is not right. Economy is bad. You know, all these objections. And we have, okay, price objection. Price objection is price is too high, don't have the budget, don't have the money. You know, there's probably about 25 variations of the price is too high. For the price is too high, I have 42 responses to the price is too high. Why do you need more than one response to any objection? Because when someone gives you the objection and you answer, you have to ask them, do you accept that explanation? If they say no, are you going to repeat the one response that you know? You need to have at least 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 responses to the price is too high. I can give you 42. Okay? Okay, let's get back to the training slides. I will share with you how to get that list in a while, Michael. Okay. So, buyers are objection-giving professionals, so we must become objection-handling professionals, because almost every conversation starts with no. Okay? It's what we deal with the most often. And you must know your objections and your responses so that you can give it to them. You can answer them right there and then. On the phone, I have a folder with all the objections. I think Michael and King Fai, maybe you saw a little bit of that, right? Okay. Then, we go into, the cliche that, objections is opportunities. Yes, I agree with all of that. Whether it's opportunity or a brush off, you must know how to respond to objections. The salespeople and the trainers, the so-called trainers that say that, an objection is an opportunity to sell. It's a cliche. Whatever it is, you need to know how to respond. I will not go through each one, but these are the reasons why people raise objections. Now, I'm going to give you the sequence on how to handle objections. Okay? This is the sequence. The first is you either ignore or you acknowledge the objection. I'll come to that in a second. Then you have to clarify it. You have to clarify it by saying, let's say they go, okay, price is too high. You clarify it by saying, the price is too high. You just repeat what they said. The price is too high in a question, right? And then you restate it. You restate it by saying, okay, just to understand, you're saying that my price level is a little bit too high for this option that you're getting. Is that right? So you restate it. Then the next is you isolate. Isolate means quarantine. Okay, means lockdown. All right, isolate means you take that objection and you box it and you surround it with a force field. So how you do that is, okay, you ignore it, acknowledge it, you clarify, you restate, and then you isolate. This is how you isolate the objection. other than the price being too high, is there any other reason why we cannot move forward on this? Okay, you want to hear a yes or a no. Yeah, that's the only reason. We only need to talk about price. Then you know that. Then you just have to nego price. Now, if they say, if you say, is there any other reason besides price on why we cannot move forward on this? And they go, yeah, we also have questions about this, this, and this. So it's at this point that you're getting the objections out, and now you have a list of them. You either have no other considerations, or you have one or two or three other considerations, because wouldn't you rather want to find out about them now rather than later on? Okay, then you answer the objection. You say something like, does that make sense to you? And then they say yes, and then what do? You trial close, or you close the deal. Now, let me cover the ignore and acknowledge. There's one objection that you never ever want to ignore, or one question that you never ever want to ignore, because it's a question on their mind. The question on their mind is like, what's the damn price? Everyone has that on their mind. What is the price? And until that comes out, or it's always on their mind. Correct? When you, right? Whatever you buy, you're thinking, what's the damn price? Yeah, what's the damn price? Correct or not?
Yeah.
And if someone says to you, hey, Kuan Yu, how much is the price? You never ever want to say, never ever say this. Never ever say, let me ask you a few questions first, then I give you the price. Let me find out if this is a fit, and then I give you the price. You know what? I'm glad you asked that. I'll tell you later. You know what? Excuse my language. Fuck all that shit. Okay? Don't ever answer that, because you're going to piss people off. Always tell them the price, but don't tell them the price. Give them a range. Give them a lower end and a higher end. And this is how you do it. Hey, you know what? I understand that you're asking about the price. Everybody asks about the price. Usually, based on the level of options, all the things, right? It usually range from 10,000 to 15,000. It usually range from 200 to 600. Give them a range that they can feel comfortable, and then give them a range that they will have a heart attack. Okay? Because what that will do is it will lull them into listening to you without, what's the price, what's the price, what's the price, what's the price, right? One second, yeah, Michael. What's the price, and then it's like all the way up, and then now you have the upper end in your nego for later on, and then they will think, oh, actually I don't need that much, maybe I'll be somewhere around the middle. What you're doing is that you're creating a relative price resistance and acceptance right in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because when you tell people, I tell you the price later, do you get pissed off when you ask that? When you ask them, hey, how much is it, yeah? And then when they tell you, hey, don't worry, I'll tell you later, it's cheap. They go, why can't you tell me the price? Okay,
Correct.
Michael, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Chris, I'll just share. I have not used that method before about relativity, or maybe I have, but perhaps it didn't work out as well for me. But I'll share with you what I've started using just recently. So
Right.
when my clients or prospect, when they ask for the price, normally I would say, oh, what is your budget? I throw them back the question. But hear me out. I used this technique last time. It did not work, because the client would just say, no, you tell me the price first.
Right.
The
Yeah.
truth be told, Chris, I went on with that explanation you said just now. I did say, oh, give me a moment, I'll come back to you, let me talk to my team. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So now let me tell you what I've started using now. So I'll
Right.
say, okay, Mr. Client, I understand that perhaps it's quite challenging for you to give me a budget right now. It's really a standard answer. But if I can share with you what's happening here, I need to know at least a rough estimation of your budget, because number one, scenario one could happen is this. I send you a proposal, my proposal get rejected because you say I'm too expensive. And then later I found out that my proposal was priced at 15,000 ringgit, but you only have 10,000 ringgit. But because I didn't know what budget you have, so there was no chance for me to actually remove certain features and replace them with alternatives that will allow us to price our solution for you at 10,000 ringgit. You see?
Right.
So that's the first scenario I'll tell them. Second scenario, I'll tell them, I said, this second scenario I face, I sent in the proposal and the client responded by saying, your proposal is not meat enough. And I said, oh, why? Because the other vendor, he has this, that. And then I'll be like, man, that vendor proposed you this, that. That would cost you a bomb. And then the client, we have
Yeah,
that.
we'll pay a bomb. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, why didn't you tell me you have this much budget? If you did tell me, I would have just included all those features that
Right.
they to do. So they were like,
Okay.
oh, okay, so stuff like that. So when I use this technique, Chris, right now, it tends to open them up. I think right now, out of 10 times I've tried it, 9 times, from them saying, what's your price? Or I don't know a budget, they will actually start coming up with a budget, they'll start.
Right. They all have a budget.
Sorry?
They all have a budget. I'm going to teach or share this technique, because you had to go into an explanation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So all they asked was, how much is it? Right?
Yeah.
And it's right that you explain that. But there's a precursor to that,
Okay.
that you can gauge what the budget is.
Okay.
Okay? So, this is how I do it. And this is how I teach my students to do it, okay? We'll do a hypothetical. Someone says, what is the price of, let's say they say, what's the price of your training?
Yep.
Okay? I usually have a gut feel up to that point already because of some of the questions we're asking. Because nobody asks you, what is the price of your training when you go, hi, my name is Chris, I'm with Comtech Training Company. They don't go, what's the price of your training? They don't do that.
Chris, you'll be surprised. They are.
You know what? I've never had that as the first question. If you're getting that, then you're eliciting that response. Okay?
Right.
So, but let's say they ask that question. This is how I do it. CP, you're in the training industry. You kind of agree with me so far, right? Okay? So, this is how I would do it. I would say it's 10,000. I won't say it's the high end or the low end yet. Okay? I'll just say it's about 10,000. And then if they go like that, and I say, of course, that's the high end. Of course, we can look at something that's around 5. If I say 10,000 and they go, and then I say it can go up to 20,000. Do you see what I'm saying? And you can use that for any product and service that you have. If they say, hey, what's the price? Yeah, oh, it's like 600, and they go, huh, 600? Hey, but that's the high end. It can go down to 300. If you say, for example, 600, and they go, oh, okay, and of course, that's the lower end. It can go up to 1,000. Do you see what I'm saying? The rule of negotiation says that, never give out the price first, right? That's the rule,
there's
right?
That saying, the person who gives out the price loses.
Right. The issue with that is that you are the one selling it. At this point, they are in control, right? The person in control is able to dictate terms until you're able to take control. Does that make sense? But what you said is very right, Michael. I would use that first to gauge where they are as far as the budget. I think Guan Yu, Casey, and those professionals from Ringgit Plus, I think you can start using this right away, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay? Because normally you're thinking like, shit, they ask how much, actually how much, it depends on the program, You're thinking, you don't want to hide from them, you're thinking how to answer this question without giving them a heart attack, correct or not? So you give the range, you gauge their response, and then you can either go lower or higher. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. So let's get into so the ignoring the objection. Ignoring the objection. I will never ignore an objection. some people say, just ignore it but never ignore it because anybody like to be ignored? No, right? When you ask a question, at least get a response. So, but when they ask a stupid question, and there are such things as stupid questions, right?
Listen
Correct or
in
not?
response.
Yeah. So, uh, this is how I answer a stupid objection or a stupid response. This is exactly how I do it. You can watch me, yeah? I will go, huh? What do you mean? I'll give them a face that makes them think like, hey, did I ask a stupid question? Okay? And I don't need to do any more than that. And then I now have to get them to, I have to get them to justify why they asked that question. And then that gives me time to think of the response. Does that make sense? It's like, huh? What do you mean? What do you mean? Price is too high? Huh? What do you mean? We don't have the budget. Huh? You don't have the budget? What do you mean? You can use that for any objection that you get. Oh, I don't know if that's in our plans for this quarter. Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean you don't have the plans for this quarter? Okay?
You haven't planned for the quarter? Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. How long has that been a problem, right? Okay. Okay, let's get back to the slides here. Now, we now have the sequence of how to respond to an objection. So let's talk about the methods. All right. We won't go through every single one. All right. You can solve the problem. You can turn the objection into a benefit, and all the rest of the things. Okay. And I'm going to show you how you can come up with your responses to the objections. Before we go into that, how do you improve in handling objections? The first is you gotta identify every single objection that you're getting. You gotta list everything out. Okay? You gotta write it out. You gotta list it out. Then you have to write out the responses to the objections that you get. Okay? And you have to practice it every day. And if you want to get really strong, you bring up the objections first. How do you get someone to, you see, if they're thinking, I wonder how much is this, I wonder how much is this. Sometimes they don't ask you, hey, what's the price, yeah? But they're thinking it, right? So you want them to focus on you. And sometimes you can even do this, I bet you're thinking or you're wondering yourself how much this is, what is the price on this, right? And they go, yeah, actually I am. And then, it's 10,000. Oh, heart attack. Hey, but 10,000 is the high end. We can go as down to 5,000. Or this is 10,000. They go, and all the way up to 20. So you can bring it up first. Okay. I want to show you this. Just bear with me one quick sec, yeah. Let me open this up. And I want to show you something. Okay. Let me just continue looking for that very quickly. I think it's section 6. Okay. Okay, so this is, can you see that on your screen? Okay, so this is the objections that we have. Okay, we can go a little crazy, like I'm not sure that'll work. Semi-info trial period. I don't like you. I don't like your company. You're pressuring me. Do you have references? We have all these things, and we've all heard some variation of these in the past. Correct? Yes. Yes. Right. So how do you respond to any of these? It's a lot of work to get your responses. So if, let's say, I gave you a solution that was about $19 that gave you everything, you have to decide, is that worth it to me? Okay, but let me show you what we have. So we got all these objections listed out. Okay, and then we have the sub objections, and then we have the responses, like not a good time, don't have the time right now, this is a bad time. We got 17 responses to that objection. I'm busy, short on time. We have 22 responses to that objection. Wrong time to buy right now. I think we have about 8 or 9. Don't do contracts. We got 10 responses. Okay, so this is one part of what we call our Sales Edge Toolkit. The Sales Edge Toolkit, we prepared about 30 objections, and we have many responses to. This is a manual, Michael. This is the manual called the Sales Edge Success Toolkit. It's about 200 pages. We'll talk about closing in a while, and I'll show you that part. But let me close this out. Okay, we used to put this in a manual, an A4 size manual. It's about 230 pages. Okay, no joke, yeah. We used to sell this for $299 USD, and we couldn't keep it in stock. We sold it online, and we sold it at every training program that we did, and we could not keep it in stock. All right. In 2020, we changed the format. We changed it to a PDF. We changed it to a PDF. I'm sorry. In 2019, we changed it to a PDF because I got tired of dealing with the printer and all those things, right? We stopped selling it as a physical book in 2019 and went to a fully PDF protected format, and we sold it for 99 USD. Okay, and I cannot say that we couldn't keep it in stock because there's no stock, but we were selling as many as we were selling at $299 with no printing and no whatever, right? In 2020, I removed the 99 USD price, and I dropped it all the way down to 19 or 19.99 USD. Okay, so for 20 US, for about 80 ringgit, you can have your own Sales Edge Toolkit. Now, there's so many things in the toolkit, and if all you got was how to handle objections in that section, it'd be way worth more than 19.99 USD. Okay, I'll show you a couple more things in the toolkit later on. All right, let's get back to the slides. Okay, let's see. So you identify the objections, which we've done for you. Awesome, thank you. You identify the objections, but we've done that for you. You write out all the objections, we've done that for you. You list out the responses, we've already done that for you. But you still have to work because you have to customize the responses to yourself and for your product and service. Okay, but you're starting from something that you don't have to create. You just have to adjust, and then you practice it every day. All right. Let's get into this. The reason you need to practice is because you must be able to deliver your responses to the objection without hesitation. Can you imagine if someone asks you a question, gave you an objection, you're in front of them, and then you become like, it's like, shit, I don't know what to say, right? You cannot do that, because if you do that, right, they'll look at you and it's like, you know what? I cannot trust this guy because he doesn't know what to say, right? And you must practice. You must be selective on the responses that you have, because not every response will work for you. So you have to practice. You have to innovate. You have to experiment. You have to study persuasive people. You have to ask your coworkers, your peers, how they handle objections. What I can promise you is that with persistence in your practice, you can become an objection handling expert. Okay? You have to practice your objections because you become confident, and confidence is extremely persuasive. All right? And you have to understand objections is what we get the most. So you must get comfortable with hearing objections. If they trust you, if they can afford your solution, and if it really helps them, if it solves a significant problem, then they should buy it now. All right? Couple bonus ideas. I may have mentioned this already. If you always get the same objection, bring it up first. The old style of the feel, felt, found. I came up with a more modern version. The more modern version is, you know what, I do hear what you're saying. That's very understandable. Or you can even say, hey, you know what, I totally get you. I hear exactly what you're saying. That's the exact same thing that crossed my mind as well until I was informed about the money back guarantee. Eva, is Eva still here? Eva? Okay. The example that we covered earlier was with Eva, where she said, I cannot find that on the website, right? And that's the exact technique that I used. Okay, let's go through some objections right now, and it's just a sampling. And if you were to start with these, you would be better off. But you must have more than what I'm about to share with you. Okay, so I'm not interested. You'll get I'm not interested. Yes, we all get it, right? Correct. Raise your hand if you get it. Okay. When I hear I'm not interested, oh, why not? Oh, why not? Right? If you were interested, why do you think you would be? What could cause some interest for you? You can use these, and you can start the ball rolling. Price is too high. Why do you say the price is too high? I'm not clear. Are you saying that the price is too high, or the value that you're getting is not high enough, or how much high is too high? Right? And then think about it. Okay? What we normally say to think about it. I want to think about it. It's like we will say, okay, think about it. Okay, I'm not interested. Okay, right? And then we go away, right? So I want to think about it. So you can do a couple things, or we say okay, or we go, what do you want to think about? What do you want to think about? It's like now you want to fight with them. It's like you're trying to get them to justify. In certain cases you can, but the first response that you want to give them is this. Okay, the first response is they say they want to think about it, right? Yeah, of course. I definitely want you to think about it. That makes so much sense that you have to think about it. You're not buying something for $10. We're talking about 10,000, right? What we found is that our best clients, they thought very hard about their decision. Okay? In fact, the longer they think about it, the longer they thought about it, the more sense this makes for them to say yes. When do you want me to come back? Okay? When we do this, right? When we do this, we make ourselves so different from the competition and from the average salespeople that's up against us, because if you're average nowadays, that's the accepted, and it's to me it's mediocrity. Okay, before we move on, let's see. Hold on one sec. Okay, before we move on, any questions so far about objections at all? Any questions? Anybody? You can type into the chat, or you can ask me. Okay, does anybody need to use the bathroom, get a coffee, get a drink? Feel free to do so. If you need to do that, don't worry. We are recording everything. And let me make sure we are. Yes, we are. Okay, so we're going to go into closing. Okay? Do you all want to know about closing? Who wants to know about closing? Yeah. Closing can be automatic. Okay? Can be automatic. But you must do your part. Let me ask you a question. Okay? You see, when I say that, let me ask you a question, your mind gets open to receiving the question. Get in the habit of that. All right? When you're going to ask them a question, let me ask you a question. Can I ask you this? Let me share this with you. All right? You have to prep them so that they pay attention. Let's see, I forgot the question. Okay. Have you ever been trying to buy something and the salesperson is talking to you and they're talking and they're talking and they're talking and then you're sitting there and you go, it's like, you know what, I want inside, yeah, it's like, hey, I want to buy already. I want to buy it now. Just ask me to buy and I will say yes. Right? And then it's like, dude, just freaking ask me to buy. I'm ready to buy now and they're still talking and talking and talking. Have you ever experienced that? Yeah. You have to know when to close. Most of the time, closing here, especially in Malaysia, do you know what's the closing statement that I found the most common here in Malaysia? This is the closing question. So how? How? So how? Correct or not?
Correct.
Right? Okay? If you use this as a closing statement, stop. Stop using it. All right? So how? It's like, can I buy you a drink? So how? Is it? No, we don't do that. We're sales professionals. We have to deserve to close, we have to be a little bit better. Okay? See, closing is not for us, it's closing is for them. How do we know when to close? Some of my mentors have told me that you can just feel the atmosphere change. You can feel the temperature in the room become a little bit different. But we cannot leave it to psychics and phenomenon to know when to close. We have to know when to close and we have to engineer it. We have to engineer it by asking a trial close question early and often. You're not asking them to buy. You're asking, if we're able to do this, would you buy? Then you will know that they might be ready. You can also assume that they're ready to buy. Okay? So we'll cover closing right now. Get the training slides up, yeah? Okay. This is when people will buy from you. Everything that we've done up to this point, if you look at this at the points on the slide, everybody can hear me okay? I hear some static. Are we okay? Yeah, okay. So everything that we've done up to this point, like and trust you, value exceeds price, see the benefit, can see themselves using it. Everything coming into the close, we have to do all these things first. Then it becomes easy to close. All right? Now, what if there's a way, if we can find out how they made a buying decision for a particular product, for our particular product or service in the past, so that we can duplicate those conditions. Does that make sense? That means everybody that has bought something in the past, there's a criteria of their buying decision. And it's what I call the buyer fingerprints. Because we want to find out what were the features they were looking for. What were the benefits? What was the budget in the past? What were the emotions that they involved in that decision? What's the criteria? What is the criteria that they looked at in order to make that buying decision right now. Okay? And it's a very easy set of questions to ask. All right? Who would like to know what those questions are? Raise your hand if you would like to know. Yes? No? If it's no, we can skip it. Okay. When you decided to buy whatever the product or service is in the past, how did you decide it was the right one, or how did you decide it was the right decision? What were some of the things that looked at hidden command? Okay, what are some of the what are some of the factors that influenced you to say yes? Okay, you're loading their mind with yes, say yes, decide is the right one. When you decide to buy, okay, you're loading the subconscious in little steps, little steps, little steps. Okay, when you use buyer fingerprints, it's very powerful because rather than talking about everything about your product or service, you ask them, when you decided to buy ad service or training programs or insurance or whatever the product or service is, how did you decide it was the right one? Okay, and then they will say, what do you mean? Well, what are some of the factors that influence you to say yes? Okay, then they tell you, oh yeah, I looked at this, and I looked at that, and then what you do is like, is that important to you now? Do you want something similar now? And then, because sometimes people change, right, over time, so you need to write down in person or on the phone. You need to write down what they say, because then you can tailor your presentation, whether it's immediately after they tell you or if you schedule a formal presentation. Those are the you will have to mention everything, but those are the things that you focus on. Okay. Earlier we talked about the benefit statements. We called it loading the question. If you were to get benefit 1, 2, and 3, you'd want to buy this now, wouldn't you? Okay. Breaking it down into ridiculous and small steps. I don't think anybody here. This is more for B2C, business to consumer. But what it means is, you take a large price and you break it down into a monthly, or a day, or a weekly, or a daily obligation, or an amount, and then it puts it in relative terms. It's like, wow, it's 10,000. Yes, but you can use this for the next 3 years. So if you use it for the next 3 years, it's $3,333 per year. If you take that and you divide it into 12 months, it is a little bit under, 300, right? Is that right? About 300, and that works out to about $10 a day. So yes, you may think that it's 10,000, but it's really, your investment, not your price. Your investment is really about $10 a day. And then one of the things I used to say, I don't know if you can say it in your business, but one of the things I used to say is like $10, right? It's $10 a day, and then I would joke. I would say, $10 is like a Starbucks coffee or a cheap lunch, and then I would say, now if there's any day that you don't have the $10 to buy lunch, let me know, and I'll come down and I'll buy you lunch. Okay, so we make a slight joke. Okay, so that's for the breaking it down into the ridiculous or into the small steps. The best way to close is to prepare them for the close. Okay, I'd like you to imagine. Now, when you ask your closing question, and it must be a simple question, it cannot be too complex. The thing that you must do when you ask your closing question, if you're face to face, or if you're in a virtual video meeting, one of the most important things that you can do is when you ask the closing question and you nod your head. Okay? That is one of the most important things you can do. It's like, shall we take delivery of this next week? and normal human behavior. They will nod the head, and there's a linkage between. Now, you cannot trick them into saying yes. You cannot trick them into buying from you. What you can do is you can put the odds in your favor so that the probability of them closing the deal with you is a lot higher than before. Does that make sense? There's no you cannot trick someone into saying yes and buying from you if they don't want to. All right? So what we're doing is we're trying to get them to say yes. Now, if they say no, do we want to know it now? Of course we do, because we want to find out why they're saying no so that we can continue selling. Does that make sense, guys, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Okay, so when you say, are you ready to take delivery next week? Yeah? In fact, you can even throw in the, like I did it almost naturally. Yeah? Yes? And then they'll go, yeah, yes. All right? I promise you, when you see this explanation right now, you're thinking, how? I don't think that'll work. I'm telling you, it works. I'm telling you, it works. I've used these techniques. Yeah, it's not specific to the U.S. It's not specific to Asia. You can use it in a different language. We've taught clients and students Mandarin, English, UK English, American English, Tagalog, Bisaya, Mandarin, Cantonese, Hokkien. Well, Hokkien maybe not so much, okay? Because all of these things, yeah, is not contingent on English, okay? Because if we were to 用华语讲这样的东西啊，也可以用的。Can use also. You can use it in BM. You can use it in Mandarin. You can use it in Tagalog. It makes no difference. Because the human mind is the human mind. Okay? Let's see. Michael said he has to go because he has a meeting. Good luck in the meeting, Michael. Okay? So, does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? Yes? Okay. Okay, so let's go into advanced closing techniques. Let me see the time. Yeah, we have time for this. For some reason, we didn't have the time on Tuesday. So we'll go into advanced closing techniques. I already taught you about the hidden commands. We already talked about imagery and pictures. We already talked about instruct them. So now we're going to talk about story selling. Story selling, I think, did we cover it earlier? Yeah, it was a little bit on the, when I said, what was that question? You know what? Somebody is that me? I think, Guan Yu, I'm going to mute you for a second, yeah? I think your microphone is like rubbing on your shirt. Yeah, you all heard that, right? That shh sound, right? Okay. Let's see, what was it? Okay, so let's get into, let me get back to the training slides. Okay, the story selling. Story selling is actually very entertaining. We kind of did a little bit of that when we did when I was doing a bit of role play with you earlier, Guan Yu. I think it was about the hidden commands. It's like you're lucky to meet me. That thing, right? So story selling is let's say for example you sell property. Okay, there's a few components. There's a few components in this. Okay, let's say you're selling property, and you know you talk to them, and then let's say you're talking to a husband and wife. For example, I'll set up the scenario. You're talking to husband and wife, and then you know that kind of like, should we sign, should we not sign? And then you use story selling. It's like, hey, you know what? I understand your hesitation because it is a big decision. So now you acknowledge the hesitation. You're not like, sign. So how sign? You're not forcing them. You're persuading them now. Okay? So, hey, I understand your hesitation. It is a big decision. But let me ask you this question. You do like the place, yes? Yes. You do like how many rooms there are? Yes. Yes. You like the neighborhood? Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm not going to pressure you to make a decision to sign the contract now. Hidden command, sign the contract now. All right? And I want to share with you what happened with a client of mine last month. They saw the place. They like the rooms just like you like the room. They like the neighborhood just like you like the neighborhood. So now you're drawing the comparison and you're reinforcing their decision on why they should say yes, right? And then you can say they like the place, and then they were kind of hesitating. They were kind of hesitating, and then they said, okay, you know what? We'll get back to you, in 1 or 2 days. And then so I had to call them with the bad news that somebody else acted and either rented or bought the property before they came back to me, and they were so disappointed. They were so disappointed that they didn't get the place that they were saying, you know what, we should have signed the contract right now. Okay, so that's another hidden command, and you're using story selling to give them the instruction so that it's not you giving them the instruction, and you're using imagery. Okay, you like the room, you like the size, and you're instructing them. So what I did in this whole scenario in less than 2 minutes is that I used every component of the advanced closing techniques. Now, you don't have to use every single component. You don't have to, put them all together. You just have to use one or two when it's time to close, and you're setting them up to close. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if it makes sense. Yeah? Okay. Can you see yourself using these things? Yes? Okay, awesome. If you give a $5 presentation, don't expect a $5,000 order. Right? What that means is do the work up front. Put in the effort. Laziness is, so how? You want to buy? And they say no. Because you didn't do the work up front. And everybody does the work up front. So what we need to do is we need to do quality work. It's not enough just to talk to them and set an appointment and send an email with a brochure. You know what? Everybody does that. If everybody does that, then you're the same as everybody else, right? When I talk to clients, okay, very, very seldom do I ever hear, hey, this is Chris with Comtech, and very seldom do they go, who is this again? Very seldom, okay? Most often, I would say 80 to 90% of the time, they would go, hey, Chris. Okay? To close professionally, you must earn the right to close. It's your duty to close. If you've done the work right, you don't need to be worried about pressuring or needy or pushy or desperate or aggressive. It's your duty to close the deal. Okay? This is the process for asking for the sale. You discuss the price, you answer their questions and objections, you provide a guarantee or a warranty, and if your company doesn't provide guarantee, then you provide the guarantee. It's like, this is my personal guarantee. Okay, I'm not asking you to guarantee the outcome, but guarantee that I will be with you every step of the way. You have any question, I will always be there to answer for you. Does that sound fair? Okay, and then ask for the sale again. Now, I'm going to share with you my two favorite closes. Okay, these are my two favorite closes that I use 70% to 80% of the time. Okay, well, before I share those with you, let me ask you this question. If you think about it, how many closes do you use? I would say that the majority of us will be going, I don't know. Is it one? Is it two? I don't have any standard way to close the deal. Don't need to answer. I know I'm right because I've asked this question for almost 20 years. Okay. If let's say I wrote a book called The World's Greatest Closes. Okay. And in that book, I have a series of closing statements. How many closing statements would need to be in that book before you said, this is a good book? Nadrul, how many do you think would need to be in that book before you said this is a good book?
Well, it depends. Probably 5.
Okay, 5. Okay, and if I put 5 closing statements that you can learn in a book, you would say it's a good book. 5. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. Anybody have a higher or lower number? King Fai, how many closing statements do you think would need to be in a book called The World's Greatest Closes before you said that's a good book?
Well, based on what you're saying, we only need 2, right?
Yeah, you only need 2, but you got to
Maybe
figure out. Well, you got to figure out which 2 is going to
20,
suit you,
let's
right?
say. Let's say 20.
Okay. So we went from 5 to 20. CP, how many would you say?
Many as it is able to help me close the sales.
Okay, so if you were to put a number on it before you said it's great, what would that number be? Would you say it's 25, 30, 50?
Probably 10, 20.
Okay. I'm going to share this with you. This is the last page of that book. Okay, it's the last page of the book. Let me share it with you real quick. What's the number there at the bottom? What's this number?
418.
It's 418. I give you 418 closing statements for you to choose from. Do you need to memorize all 418? No. What you need to do is you need to read through all 418 and choose the best 20 to 25 for yourself. Okay? The reason there's 418 there is because we have to give you a range of products, a range of services, a range of industries, a range of, whether they're visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. So we give you 418 ways to close a deal. You just read through all of them, pick the best 20 or 25 for yourself. Why 25? So you can practice 5 a day. The best 20 to 25, practice 5 a day, and then out of that 25, you choose 5 and you make it yours. And you will always have these 5 powerful closing statements. Earlier I said the toolkit is $19.99, right? $19.99 USD, and you get all the objections. The closing statements 418 is part of the toolkit. Okay? So let's get on with this. I'm going to share with you you can copy. I'm perfectly fine if you copy it. I'm going to share with you my 2 closing statements that I use the most often. Okay? Are you all ready? Yes or no? Hey, I have to let you know that my 2 closing statements are so simple. You're gonna look at how I close, yeah, and then you're gonna go, hey, it's so simple, and it's meant to be that way because all of the work is done from the time that you say hello. When it's time to close, it's as simple as saying, are you ready to get started working with me? Okay? The next is, when would you like me to start? Okay? And it's as simple as that. Please, Guan Yu, I will never say, so how? Unless I go to a bar and I buy like 6 beers and then buy 6 more beers and I tell, so how? That's the only time it works. Okay? That's the only time it works. Alright? Let me share this with you. Okay? This is my go-to close. So let me ask you this question. Are you ready to get started working together? And that's it. When would you like me to start? Those are my two go-to closes that I use 70 to 80% of the time. Now, when I use this, simple, right? Wave your hand if it's simple. Okay? It's so simple. Sometimes people get angry with me. It's like they're telling me, it's so simple. And I said, it's meant to be. Because you do all the freaking work up front. You know what? Let's do this. Okay. Let's do this. Let me drive it home for you. Okay? If I can ask you a favor, for those that are able to, let's put your video on. Because I want to see your reactions. Okay? So, everybody has been on a first date. Everybody's been on a date, right? Except maybe Casey. Casey, have you ever been on a date?
Oh, Casey
Why-
likes
wh-
frangipani a lot.
Okay. Okay. All right. So everybody has been on a first date, correct? Yes or no? Okay. So let's say I'm a young man. Young man, yeah. Okay. So then I go to a girl and I say, "Can I take you out on a date?" And she says yes, right? So I use an old-fashioned romantic story. Is it okay, Eva? Yes. Nod your head if it's yes. Eva? Ken? Oh, Eva's not listening, yeah? Okay, Nadrul, I use an old-fashioned romantic story. Ken? Okay, Ken. Okay. So,
Sorry, because my line is breaking up.
okay.
I can't
So
hear.
you Okay. Okay, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. We're recording this for you, all right? Okay, so I use an old-fashioned romantic story because CP, you will appreciate this story. Because I think you and me, we're old-fashioned and romantic. Yes? That's how you're able to get Linda, correct? High five, high five. High five, CP. Awesome. Okay, so I asked a girl for a first date, but I don't care. I don't clean my car. My car is dirty inside and outside. My shirt is all crumpled. My jeans is like faded and torn. And then I reach her house. Instead of going up to knock on the door, I honk, 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 come out. It's like then the girl will go, oh, this idiot, yeah, honking the horn, right? Okay, never mind. Maybe he doesn't know. So I give him a chance. So she comes out, hoping that I will open the door, right? But I don't. And then she goes in the car. I say, "What do you want for dinner?" And then she goes, What do most women say? Anything, right? And then I go, awesome, McDonald's. We go McDonald's, right? And then after McDonald's, I say, hey, we go for a movie. She goes, yeah, okay, movie's nice. And then I say, we go and watch. What's a guy's movie? What's a guy's movie nowadays?
Action movie.
Yeah, action movie. Now, then I say, okay, we're going to watch this action movie. You see, maybe she likes action movie also, but that's not the point. The point is that I'm, without the authority, I'm deciding. And I'm not deciding something that she would probably like. So, then we go watch the movie. Okay, after the movie, I drive her home. Then I walk her to the front door. And I try to get a what?
Yes.
I try to get a kiss. So I try to lean in. Do you think she will kiss me or let me kiss her? Yes or no?
No.
Probably not. But looking the way that I do, I normally just joking. Okay, so but the probability of getting me that kiss is low. Correct? Now we flip it. Okay, I asked the girl, let's go on a date. Before the date, I do my preparation. I iron my shirt, looking good. I comb my hair, looking good. I clean my car outside and inside, looking good. I drive to the house. I show up with flowers as nice as Eva's in her background. I show up with flowers. And then I knock on the door, introduce myself to the father, and I say, I'm going to take your daughter out for a date. I will bring her back by 11. Wow, right? And then we go and eat. And then maybe we eat McDonald's because I'll ask her, what do you want to eat? She goes, anything. And then I'll say, I'll give her three choices. Do you want McDonald's? Do you want KFC? Or you want Kenny Rogers, for example? Whatever it is, okay? So she has the choice. Then I say during dinner, we can watch this movie or this movie. Which one do you want? And then she goes, I want this movie. Then we go, okay, we go watch that movie. Movie, nice time. I drive her home. I walk her to the front door. I lean in for the kiss. Do I get it? The probability of me getting that kiss shoots all the way up, doesn't it? Is it guaranteed that I get the kiss? No. But the probability of me getting the kiss is a lot higher than the first guy. Would you all agree with that? This example, you need to take it and apply it to your sales and your business. You need to present a professional appearance, a professional demeanor, okay? You must make them comfortable with you, and you must show them that you are deserving of a kiss, or in the sales and business profession, of being allowed the privilege of serving them with your product and service. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. So, let's get into this. We talk about follow-up. Follow-up is easy or hard?
Hard.
I can
It's
tell
boring.
you, right, I can tell you follow-up is not easy, okay? But with everything that I do, I will give you a system, and I'll give you a structure and a strategy. So all you got to do is just follow that system. Does that sound okay? Yes? Okay, awesome. You have to understand that you will never lose a deal. You will never lose a deal because of professional persistence. You will never lose a deal because of professional persistence. And here's the reality. We are not persistent enough. And I came across some stats from the US. I believe this is from 2018 or 2019. Of course, it is US stats. I couldn't find anything for Asia, but it's very similar. On average, in the US, it takes 8 to 12 touches. 8 to 12 touches to close the deal. Hold on one sec, yeah? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so hang on one sec, guys. Let me fix something here. Okay. I just had to mute out a sound that was coming in. Okay, so on average, it takes 8 to 12 touches to close the deal. 22 days, this is normally in B2B, right? B2B takes 22 days minimum to make a decision. And in that 22 days, it's 32 touch points, whether it's like they see something on Facebook from you, or an email, or a WhatsApp, or a text, or a phone call. The unfortunate thing is, 80% of the salespeople never make it past the third or the fourth call. Do not answer this out loud. Have you ever experienced where you try to follow up with someone, and then it's like they never answer your call, or they give excuses, and then you just drop, and then maybe 1 month or 2 months later, you come across the card and you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to follow up now. And then you call them and they say, oh, I already bought from somebody. I already bought it. All right? And the reason for that is because you didn't follow up. Now, Most salespeople will follow up one time, two times, or three times, or even four times, but they usually stop after that. Kieran, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Did Martin ever say when he and I met?
No, actually, you gave me an
Okay.
indication.
It was 2018. Okay. So, whatever reason, 2021, we were supposed to do something in 2020, correct? Were you there already?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. So that kind of sounds familiar, right? Kieran, yes, no? Did we lose Kieran?
Yeah, it does sound a bit familiar. I remember hearing a
Okay.
conversation about having
Okay.
training.
Yeah. So here's my point. I've been following up with Martin for 3 years. Okay. The longest I followed up with a client is 4.5 to 5 years, and it's not I'm calling every day. Okay, sometimes they're not ready yet. I followed up with a premier 5 star, actually closer to six, 5 6 star hotel resort for 4 years, and the deal was worth 150,000 USD. Okay, was it worth it to follow up for the 4 years plus? Yeah, of course it was. All right. The reason that we don't is because we don't know how to follow up the right way, and it starts with recording the information. And I'm going to give you this. All right. I'm going to give you my lead sheet on how I start interacting with a prospect. All right. You can take a look at it here, but I'm going to send it to you in a Microsoft Word format. Some of you may have received it already. I'm going to send it to you in a Microsoft Word format so that you can adjust it on your own. Now, on the first page, if you look on the left side, the top half of the left side, this is a 2-page lead sheet. Okay. The top half on the left gives the details and how did I get in touch with them, what is the problem, are they certain questions that I need to ask and get answered. All right. So the bottom half of the first page and the second page is all the interactions. All right. That means I realize that I have to follow up more than one time, 3 times, or 5 times. The higher the price point, the longer and the more you have to follow up. I'm also going to teach you how to set up the follow-up, because I know that some of you are saying, how to follow up? Sometimes they don't answer my call, correct or not? And then it's like you shy to call them. I will give you the technique to do that. All right. I will also share this with you. We created a 70-day follow-up program for a client. I think that's crazy. All right. But not as crazy as my follow-up program, which can be as short as 3 days to 5 days, to as long as 4.5 years, if it's worth it. Okay. And of course, we're not calling every day, right? We're not calling, are you going to buy, are you going to buy, are you going to buy, right? So let's go into, before we go into that, and I'll send this to you also, and I'll send it to you in a Microsoft Word format so you can change it. If you look at it, there's, you don't always call. You don't always email. You don't always WhatsApp. You mix it up a little, but you also will tend to find out how does your prospect like to be followed up on. I will share with you my follow-up philosophy. My follow-up philosophy is follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up until they buy or they die. Okay? And I don't say that die, right? I'm saying that they tell me they cannot buy from me, or they move on, or the company closed down. I follow up with companies in the US until the companies closed down. Not because of me, all right? But because they didn't use me, and that's why they closed down, right? So you have to figure out your follow-up program, your follow-up sequence, and your follow-up strategy. So there are several ways of following up, and you can read through this on your own. Okay? But the opening statement, when you follow up, is that you need to remind the client why you are calling. Okay, so, and you need to tell the client what prompted the follow-up call. Now, let's go into a quick role play here. Uh, let's see. Who's very nice? Casey, I think you are nice. Can you put your video on? Casey? Casey, are you there? Casey, are you there? One more chance. If not, I'm going to shift to the next
Yeah,
handsome person.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Can you put your video on? Unless you have no shirt, then it's okay. Casey,
Combing his hair again. Maybe.
Hello.
combing his hair.
Hi.
Okay. Okay. All okay with you?
Yeah, all okay, all okay.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting whatever you're doing. Don't worry if you
Nah,
miss
it's
anything.
fine.
We are recording it. Okay. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Have y'all ever experienced where you ask someone, so how, right? You ask someone, are you ready to buy? And then they say, you know what? Let me think about it first.
Yeah.
When I'm ready to buy, I give you a call. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
That's the start of the follow up, right? And then
Yeah.
you go, and then when you hear that, you go, yeah, I got a deal. Correct or not? Okay? And then
No.
you go tell your boss, oh yeah, they want to think about it, but I think they're going to say yes. Right? And then you don't know when to call. You don't know whether to call. You're scared to call. You're nervous to call. And then, they said, okay, I'll let you know. And then they said, I'll let you know next week. And then, today is Monday. They never call. Wednesday still never call. Thursday still never call. Friday they still never call. And then you think, you know what? Maybe I should call them. But they said this week if they're interested, you know what? I should have called them on Wednesday. Why didn't I call them on Wednesday? Have you ever had this conversation with yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Okay. The reason, whatever you all say, I know that you do because every sales professional, every salesperson has this conversation with themselves. So we're going to role play now. Okay. So Casey, I want you to. I will ask you the closing question, and I want you to say to me, you know what? Let me think about it. I will let you know next week.
Okay.
Okay. So, Casey. So how?
You know what? I'll let you know next week.
Okay, you want to think about it, and you will let me know next week.
Yeah.
You have to say it.
Yeah. Let me think about it. I'll let you know next week.
Okay, and then average salespeople will go, okay, I'll wait to hear from you next week, correct or not? Now we're going to go one step further, okay? Just answer the question normally. Don't give a hard time for this role play because most of your clients will not. Some will, some won't. Okay, this is how we do. Okay, so I asked you the question. So Casey, can we get this purchase order? Can we proceed with the purchase? Say the same thing to me. Think about it. Let you know next week.
All right. I'll think about it. I'll let you know next week.
Hey, no problem, Casey. My best clients, they all have to think about it. In fact, the longer that you think about it, the more sense this is going to make for you to say yes. Hey, just let me ask you this question. Which day next week do you think that you would let me know?
Can't really give you an answer, but I'll let you know by next week.
Yeah,
sure.
but which roughly which day next week? Do you
Yeah,
think
I'll
it'll be
say,
Tuesday, Wednesday?
by end of next week, which is Friday, end of working.
Okay, so end of next week. Hey, no worries. I'll wait to hear from you at the end of next week, but you said it's Friday. Do you think you might call before lunch, or is it like sometime after lunch?
It should be after lunch.
Okay, so like If I don't hear from, and this is where you're giving a slightly hard time, but this is where we go into, okay, if I don't hear from you by 3 o'clock on Friday, I'll give you a call. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
And that is the magic. So all that was just to know, to tell Casey, if I don't hear from you by 3 o'clock on Friday, I will give you a call. He could have told me any day next week. He could have told me 10 weeks from now or 6 months from now, and I would have said the same thing. I would have still said, hey, no problem, think about it, you can call me on the 14th of May and let me know. But if I don't hear from you by the 14th, say by lunchtime, I'll give you a call. Is that okay? Now, what have you done? What you have done is you've removed the responsibility from Casey to get back to me. And you shoulder the responsibility of getting back in touch with Casey, who likes to give salespeople a hard time. Okay? And then you never have to worry about, Casey said next week, should I? You see, if I never ask Casey which day, he just said next week, right? He goes Friday. What if I said, you know what, I call Casey on Wednesday, and then I call Casey, and then he gets irritated and he says, I told you I'd let you know next week. Correct or not? Then you irritate him, and then you make him don't like you a little bit. And then now you're wondering, shit, I don't know when to call him now. Okay? So now we know, call Casey, 3 o'clock, Friday. That way, whether Casey call me or not, I don't care. I don't need to worry. It's just part of my job to call Casey at 3 o'clock on Friday next week. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Can you use this right away? You can use it right away. Yes, Kieran, I used it on you. I've also used it on CP. Correct, CP? I don't think I've used it on anyone else here. You see, Kieran, when we use that, right? I've used that technique on Martin for 3 years. This is what you're going to hear, from your prospects. This is what you're going to hear. All those with Ringgit Plus, I dare you to go to Martin and ask him. I dare you. This is what he told me. Okay, he said, and then sometimes I feel bad that I use this technique all the time. I use the same technique for 3 freaking years, on the one guy. Sometimes I will ask him, hey, if I'm pressuring you, let me know. I'll pull back. I've said that. Okay? And you know what is the response that I normally get? It's like, no, dude, please continue following up and pressuring me. I wish my sales team is half as strong in follow-up as you. Are you going to close every single deal when you do this? Are you going to piss people off when you do this? Yes. I'm telling you yes. Okay? But for every 10 deals that you get because of using this technique, you might lose one, which you never had anyway, which you weren't going to get. Keep using, if guys, if you learn nothing today except this one technique, your money, your income is going to go up. I swear to you. You use this technique, your follow-up skills and your money goes up immediately. Because you never have to worry about, hey, if I call, they get angry. Right? If I call, how? They never tell. You take the responsibility away from them. That way you don't care whether they call or not. Okay? Here's another one on follow-up. Let's say you follow up, you say, okay, I give you a call on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Is that okay? Okay, we role play a bit. Nadrul, can you put your microphone on? And Kieran, it's not a trick, it's not a trick. It's a professional technique. All right, Kieran, please. All right. Okay, Nadrul, I'll give you a call to follow up on next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Is that okay? Just say yes.
Yep, it's fine.
Okay. So next Tuesday, now it's next Tuesday, 10 o'clock, I'm going to call Nadrul, right? This is what Nadrul is doing, yeah? I told Nadrul I'm going to call at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. This is what Nadrul is doing. What's the time now? It is 9:59. Stop. Don't talk to me. Put my email away. Put this away. Chris is calling me at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Does that happen?
Ready.
Rarely. Never.
Never.
It never happens. But this is what we do. We set appointment for 10 o'clock. And then we set appointment for 10:15. And then we set appointment for 10:30. And then 10:45. Correct? And then we call the first one 10 o'clock. Oh, he's not answering the call. He's not at his desk, because they're never at the desk. Correct or not? Right? I'll tell you how to get the mobile number later. All right. Let's see where was that. Okay. So don't answer at 10 o'clock. Then your next call is at 10:15. You cannot call your 10:15 earlier than 10:15, because you set the appointment for 10:15. Correct or not? Then what do you do for 15 minutes?
Prospect another.
Bullshit, Nadrul. You do nothing for 15 minutes. You check your email, you play on your phone. You wasted 15 minutes. I like the way that you're trying to answer, but bullshit. Am I right? Don't answer. I know I am. Then 10:15 you call the next person, don't answer the call. Then now you got to wait until 10:30 for the next one. So in 1 hour you made 5 appointments, you talk to one person. How do you fix that? This is how you fix it. I will never say I call you at 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. I will call you by 1 p.m. I will call you between 1 and 1:30. When you tell people I can call you between 1 and 1:30, you now can set 5 or 6 people to call between 1 and 1:30. Because not all of them will answer the phone. Not all of them will be there. Correct? Does that make sense? So now you chunk your follow-up appointments at one time slot. Does that make sense, guys?
Yep.
Okay. So when you do your follow-up, chunk them. I will call you on Tuesday between 1 and 1:30. Is that okay? Yes. Then you have 5 or 6 people to call between 1 and 1:30, because the statistics show that you will not talk to everybody that you set on your calendar. Does that make sense? Okay. You all like that? Yes or no? Okay. Let's go to this one. You know what? Let's do this. We're going to do an exercise. We're going to do the if I don't hear from you by. Okay? Do you want me to run through that again before we do the role play exercise? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. This is what we're going to do. Before we go into the breakout rooms, let's see, we have 14, 49. I'm going to separate you out into, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to separate you all into 2 rooms. All right? What we're going to do is we're going to practice. One person will be the prospect, one person will be the professional. All right? The prospect will say, okay, wait, the professional will say, so how? Don't say that. It sounds terrible. Okay? Say that, would you like to proceed with the purchase? All right? And then the prospect will say, you know what? I need to think about it. Hey, next week, don't try to close the deal with so how. Because, okay, don't do that, yeah? All right? I will knock your head if you try that. Okay? So the prospect will say, I need to think about it. I will let you know next week. Okay? Then the professional will say, I totally understand. No worries to think about it. Do you know which day next week you will let me know, or you will call me? Okay? You got it so far? Then they will say Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day. All right? Then you will say, awesome. If I don't hear, if let's say they say Wednesday morning, okay, you don't even need the time. They just say Wednesday morning, and you don't need to ask the time. What time? 10, 10:30, 11? No need. If they say Wednesday morning, awesome. If I don't hear from you by, say, 2 p.m. after lunch, I'll give you a call. Is that okay? That's all you need to do. Are we clear? Yes? Yes? Okay. I'm going to break you all up into, you know what? Let's see, one, two. Let's see if I can assign the rooms. Okay, let's try that. 9, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, I will assign the rooms. Just bear with me. When you see the join now, just click on that. So give me about 15 seconds to get it set up. Okay. Okay, bear with me here. Okay, when you see the join now, just click on that and we'll have you in the rooms, and then I will visit your rooms also.
Or maybe I should just observe.
Are we the prospect or the professional?
Professional, you're the professional.
Okay, so who is my prospect then?
King Hui.
King Fai. Okay. So yeah. Hi King Fai. So would you like to proceed with the suggestion?
I'm quite busy.
You're quite busy. Yeah. I mean, I totally understand. But do you think you can like let me know?
Hold on.
Yeah.
We're not following. We're not following. Okay. You see, can you all hear me? Yes. Okay.
Can.
The quite busy. That is what you get, King Fai, right? You get that. You get that as a response, right, King Fai? That's why you're saying it, right? But you also have to understand that you get the quite busy at certain points of the conversation. So what we need to do is fight, instead of getting Eva to fight to get to the follow-up, we practice the technique first. Okay? When you get the I'm quite busy, you haven't established value yet. That's why they're brushing you off. And they're probably brushing you off using that that response in the first call, correct? Right?
Sorry, I just got back. I actually missed the instructions on this activity.
Okay, that's fine.
I will be the prospect.
Okay. Okay, Eva, CP will be the prospect for you, all right? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I will start again. Okay. Hi CP.
Hi.
So yeah, would you like to proceed with the proposal?
I'll tell you what, let me think about it. I will get back to you next week, okay?
Right. Yep, I totally understand. But may I know by next week, by when you can let me know on your decision?
Maybe next Thursday or next Friday.
Oh, cool. Next Thursday and Friday, right? Right. So if I don't hear you on Friday before lunch hour, can I just call you back around 2 to 3? Is that okay?
Yes, I guess it's okay.
Sure. Then I'll speak to you next week. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Don't use the word but. You used the word but earlier. It's not like, oh, but I want to. Okay, it's like and. Use and. All right.
Okay.
I think that was awesome. So let's help King Fai. Get on track on that one. King Fai, very very powerful. I'll let your room members continue from here. Okay, and then I'll visit the other room, and I might come back. All right. Sound good? Okay, awesome.
So far, I think it's good.
So
Hey,
between
Chris.
Nadrul and Kay,
Ya. Okay,
who's
Nadrul,
up next?
kita buat bahasa Melayu boleh?
Bahasa Melayu boleh. Boleh,
Boleh.
boleh.
Okey lah. Okay, jadi prospek lah
Siapa prospek?
Okey lah, prospek.
Oh, okay, K prospek.
Yep.
Okay. Terima kasih atas kesudian untuk bersama kami. Terima kasih atas masa dan kami menghargai masa anda. So, boleh saya dapatkan, boleh ingin saya tanyakan, macam formal sangat pula. Boleh saya tanya bila hari yang, hari ini hari Jumaat, adakah sesuai untuk saya follow up mungkin seminggu daripada hari ini?
Actually minggu depan saya full lah.
Hold on. You guys are not in the sequence. You, Nadrul, you are telling him when you're going to follow up. No, you ask him, do you want, correct, Kwan Yu?
Yeah.
They're messing up the sequence, okay?
Yeah.
What you should do is say to K, Mabelita,
Yeah. So how?
right? And then K, you've done this exercise before, okay? K, you need to say, saya mau ingat dulu, or fikir-fikir dulu, saya mau fikir dulu, I let you know next week, alright? And then, Nadrul, you have to say, understand, let me know next week, no problem, tak masalah, which day next week you will let me know. Then K will say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, no problem. Wednesday, if I don't hear from you by, Kwan Yu, you have a question?
Yes. So Kiran and I did exactly that, and we pointed out there's two lines missing before you say okay next week. They should be
Okay.
Yes, you should think about it. All my clients think about it, and it makes a lot of sense. The more that I sincerely want you to think about it.
Yes.
And
by
actually,
the
I have
way-
a follow-up question to that. Because
Yeah.
in me and Kwan Yu's simulation, when
Right.
I asked for a date, he said, oh, late next week. He didn't specify a date, right?
That's okay. If
And
he
when
says
I
late
asked,
next, go ahead.
Yeah, so when I asked, what date would be work for you, he said, I'm not sure. I actually
Okay.
suggested, would Thursday be okay for you, right?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
fine.
okay?
No, because some people will not commit to a date, right? So if you say that, do you know which day next week? Because they're used to brushing off, they're used to not committing. All right. So if they say, yeah, I'll let you know sometime late next week. Say, hey, no worries. If I don't hear from you by Thursday at 4 p.m., I will give you a call. Is that okay? And then they will tell you yes or no.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
The goal is to
you
get
see-
them to lock down to something. Yeah.
Right. You see, there's this term. We're calling it either a foothold or an anchor point. An anchor point is a term used in mountaineering, where they use like a carabiner or some kind of thing that put into the ledge, and then they use that to pull themselves up or use it as a safety line. That is called the anchor point. What we're doing is we're creating that date as the anchor point for us to climb higher and to take the conversation to the next level. Make sense? Okay, so Nadrul, is that K? I don't know. Sorry. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Nadrul, why don't you role play with Kiran? Kiran, you can use BM also, right?
I can try.
But
Okay.
I think I prefer to do it in English.
Okay, that's fine. So, okay. Later, K, you can try with Kwan Yu in BM. All right? Okay, let me just do that. Okay. Kiran, Nadrul, go ahead.
Nadrul, you want to be the prospect or you want to be the salesperson?
Don't mind. Can be prospect.
Okay, you can be. Yeah, I haven't been a prospect. Let me try this.
Okay. Okay. So Okay, thanks, Kieran, for your time. So, how do you like to proceed forward?
Hey man, no worries. I actually need a bit more time to think about it. Maybe sometime next week.
Okay, cool. You can have all the time in the world, but next week, do you have
No
any?
but.
Sorry.
No but.
No, but
Take all the time that you need,
and can
and
and any date in mind that you would like me to follow up?
okay, hold on. That's very wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy.
Just ask straight out. Which day you're gonna call me back?
Which day you gonna call me back?
Uh, so I've got a meeting on Thursday. So let's say I'll let you know by Friday morning.
Friday morning. All right, Ken. Friday morning, it's fine. Can I call you if I don't receive any call from you?
No, you don't ask. You're telling them. Awesome. I'll wait for your call on Friday morning. If I don't hear from you by Friday morning, I will give you a call by 1 p.m. on Friday. And then here's the question, is that okay? You don't say can I call you? If you ask them can I call you, they will tell you no. Wait for my call. All
I'll
right?
call you
We
if
have
I'm
to
interested.
yeah, we have to do it this way. Okay, so I'll wait for your call on Friday morning. If I don't hear from you by 1 p.m. on Friday, I will give you a call. Is that okay? Do you see the difference? Okay? Okay, let's try that again. Kieran, tell him it's Friday morning.
All right. So you can. I'll probably get back to you by Friday morning.
Okay, I'll call you in Friday morning. Okay, I'll wait for your call and I'll call you I'll call you back by 1 p.m. If I don't receive any call from you. Is that okay?
Yes. That's it.
Okay, so
Okay? So you guys work together, right? Hey, you need to practice with Yana on this one. Okay, you replay this one again. So Kieran, Nadrul, and Kwan Yu, y'all are in the same company. You need to make your groups and practice this stuff. You must practice. Okay? You see, we just learn it. Hey, I'm not insulting you, Nadrul, because I also learn slow. Sometimes I need to learn and learn and learn and learn, and then practice and practice and practice, and then I can use. There's nothing wrong with that, because I think you are smart. Me, I'm not so smart. What I do is I work really hard on practicing. Okay, make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys need to practice this, and practice this, and practice this more. All right. So I'm going to leave the room, and then I'm going to close everything, and I'll see you back in the main room in a minute. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll wait for the others to come back. They should be back in about 30 seconds, guys. Everybody can hear me okay? Okay, awesome. So, we went through that exercise, and it was a way to get you to get a feel of doing it. Can anyone tell me, by going through that exercise, they're now an expert in that? Anybody can do that? No. Okay, no, we must practice all the time. Okay? The reason that you see the words rolling off from me as easy as it does is because it's constant practice. Michael Jordan. Y'all heard? Everyone heard of Michael Jordan? Probably, possibly one of the best basketball players in my lifetime. Okay? The man had a lot of talent, yes? How many of you agree that Michael Jordan had a lot of talent? Michael Jordan did not have a lot of talent. When he was in college, when he was in college, he was dropped from the college basketball team. You're right, Kieran. He had a talent for hard work. Okay? He had a talent for practice. practice. And he had a talent for practicing correctly and executing perfectly so that when he's in a game, all right, he performed perfectly. Do you know most athletes, when they finish a championship game, do you know what they do? They go take a shower, they go out and celebrate, they go for drinks, and they go out, basically they go out and celebrate. Do you know what Michael Jordan did after a game? He stayed at the arena and he continued practicing based on his performance during the game. All right? That's what Michael Jordan did. If Michael Jordan can do that in his profession to become the most famous or one of the more famous basketball athletes, okay? What more of us? What more of us? And you know what? We're doing it for our family. We're doing it for to be able to send our child to international school, where we want to buy property. We want to retire comfortably. All right? We want all these things, don't we? Okay? If we deserve these things, hope is not going to give it to us. Hard work in the right areas will give it to us. Anybody older than 50 here? Nobody, right? Okay? If nobody is in their 50s yet, besides me, okay, then you owe it to yourself to put everything in so that when you're older, you can get the benefits. There's cliches like, the bamboo trees takes how many years to grow and, all that, right? But I prefer to use durian. Y'all like to eat durian? Yeah? Do you know how long it takes for a durian tree to fruit? About 7 to 8 years. And even then, it's not the nice one yet. It has to be a little bit older before the fruit is really nice, right? So, the farmer has to plant the tree and, all the cliches, right? And then they enjoy the fruit, almost 10 years later. What I'm saying is that nature shows that to us. And if nature shows that to us, and we're part of nature, we have to put in the work so that we can get the massive benefits. Now, I'm not saying you must wait 10 years to get achievements and success. What I am saying is that to get your massive success, maybe it takes 10 years, 7 years, whatever it is. What I'm telling you is that if you use some of the techniques that you learned today, you can have massive success. You can achieve already starting on Monday. All it takes is for you to pick up some of the things that you learned today and implement it and start using it. All right? I'm going to add a couple tools for you. Well, let me add on to that. I'm going to add a couple tools that you're going to need in order to be more productive and more be able to achieve more. All right? You need scripts. You cannot escape from this. In the toolkit, the one that I mentioned earlier, I have sample scripts that you can use and follow. Not only that, if you use the scripts and create your script, you can email it to me, and I will critique it and I'll fix it for you. All right, and all you have to do is I'm not saying you must. All you have to do is get the toolkit. It's 19.99 USD, which is 80 ringgit, and I will fix your script for you. Not only that, you get all the objections and you get all the closing statements. All right. So you need scripts in everything that you see in your screen. You need to have a script. How many times do you someone sends you a WhatsApp and then you answer back like that, and then you gotta think what you're saying, and then maybe you have a typo or whatever it is, right? And then you think, oh, I sent a typo, I look stupid now. Why don't you prepare all your WhatsApp replies, all your messenger replies, all your email replies in a script, in a folder, so that when it comes time to answer those questions, because we all get the same questions, right? We get the same questions from different clients. Why don't we figure out the best answer and then, list it out and then use that and reply? Now, you also need online calendar. Google Calendar is not enough. In the email that I'll send to you with the recording, I will suggest to you which online calendar you can use. It's free. If you don't use a CRM, I will suggest a CRM to you. It's free. It's from HubSpot. It's called HubSpot CRM. With the HubSpot CRM, you now have the lead tracking. You need to have an email series to be able to send out emails. You need to have a landing page if it's appropriate for you. I'll send out that information for you. And, I'll send out resources to you constantly. And, before we end, I want to explain to you there are reasons why people buy from you or they don't buy from you. Everything that we've done is we've covered the reasons why people should buy from you and why they don't buy from you. Whether you realize it or not, you are now equipped to be able to overcome these reasons why somebody will not buy from you. From the very beginning on your mindset, to building rapport, to being more persuasive, to handling objections, to closing, to follow up. You now have tools and skills at your disposal that it's your choice if you're going to pick up and you're going to use. It's your choice. All right? What I can tell you is that everything that I'm sharing with you are things that I use and things that my team uses, and you don't need to believe me. Just know that my company has been around for 23 years. Okay? And that should be enough to tell you that it's not a fad. It's not, oh, I think this works or maybe this works. These things have lasted 23 years through several crises, through in the US 9/11. Almost every company was devastated in 9/11. Okay, we went through some of us more than others. We went through the financial crisis in the US in the late 2000s. Around the same time in Asia, you had also the financial crisis. You had the SARS, the H1N1. Right now, we are 1 year plus in whatever we're experiencing now. If you're having challenges now, then something has to change. Because if you're having challenges now, that means you got to do something new and do something different, right? Because if what you have been doing is not giving you headache or stress or things like that, then you would already be successful, super successful now. All right? And I don't mean it in a disparaging or in a disrespectful way. If what you were doing already, It should be working already by now. So what I'm saying to you is, if you want things to change, you got to take the stuff that I shared with you today, and you got to learn it. You have to practice, and you have to implement. Okay? So, what do you do? What do you do after you close the deal? All right? Closing the deal is the start of a new relationship. You keep it simple. You welcome them. You congratulate them. Hey, you know what? Congrats, you made the right decision. I will do it in a phone call, and I will do it in a WhatsApp message, and I will do it in an email. Whatever it is, right? Then you restate the terms so that there's no surprises, and then you explain to them, this is what's going to happen next. And don't worry, I'm going to be here to take care of you every step of the way. And that's how you reassure them. Okay? So with that, we will enter our question and answer. And let me stop the share real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, do we have any questions at all on anything that we covered today? And while you're thinking of your questions, I'm going to ask you a favor. I'm going to take a picture, a screenshot for all of us. If you can put your video on, even if it's a little slow, we're going to take pictures. Eva, if you can put either put your head up or put your either way. All right. Kay, you're perfectly fine laying down just the way you are. I like the comfort. No worries at all. All right. Hamidi and Kiran, let's have a look at your faces. Were you doing that, Hamidi? Okay, on the count of 3, I'm going to take a picture. We're going to take one picture, just normal, everybody looking happy, everybody looking good looking, except for one or two of you which need to improve on your looks. We won't mention who. Okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then now, who's under 25 years old here? Anybody under 20? Okay, put your hand down. King Fai, you're 27, 28, right? 27. Kiran, how about you? 19? 17. Okay. All right, so
27.
27. Okay. All right. So let's take another picture. We'll take another picture. Kwan Yu, you're how old? Like 29, 30?
Oh, that's very flattering, bro. That's how you get me to like you, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
39, bro.
39. Okay, you look way younger than I thought. No,
I
did
like
that
you
sound right?
already.
I don't know, but you look young. Okay, so on the count of 3, everybody under 50 years old, give a great big smile. The bigger smile that you give, the younger you are at heart, and the younger you will behave. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And then, are there any millennials on this session? Any millennials? I think you have to be under 34, 35 to be millennial. Is that right? Yes? Okay. Only the millennials and the young at heart give me a love sign. Are you ready? On the count of 3, only the millennials and the young at heart. Okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. I love the way that Kwan Yu does it. Awesome. With the dimple there. Okay, that's why you look 29. Okay. Okay, so do we have any questions at all about anything that we covered today?
Chris, I have a question.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Okay.
You have another phone close to you? You have something, another electrical device close to you, correct? Okay, I will mute Kay for a second. All right. While we're waiting for Kay, does anybody else have a question at all?
Yes,
Okay, is it-
Okay, Kay, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question?
Okay. Jadi, uh, as you know, I'm doing G. So, I got one problem. This week, my client want to apply the Chinese New Year promotion. That the promotion is end on 15 March,
Okay.
and I get the customer on the 14th.
Okay.
Okay. Then, I send her all the document that I need, and I ask her to sign everything.
Right.
But until 15, she still not signed.
Okay, so what's the issue?
form. Okay. So I said her, I call her. She said, okay, I will send the form. But until late night.
Okay, hold on, Kay. We're getting a lot of interference. Ask your question. I know the situation now. So what is the actual question?
Okay. How should I follow up because the client?
Okay. You can mute yourself now. I'll answer this way. All right. You have a couple issues. The first issue is that you did not make it urgent enough to the client. There was a deadline and they missed the deadline. All right. So now you have a couple choices. I don't know how stringent DG is. In integrity, you actually cannot honor the Chinese New Year promotion unless you justify it with she signed the papers on the 14th, and then you use that to justify. There's only two things you can do. You can go to DG and say she signed it on the 14th and we're submitting it now, but it's the 20th, so it's 6 days away. Or you can tell your client, you know what, I told you to fill it in and I told you to do it and you delayed. Okay? I do know that DG always has promotion. You can lock her in for your next promotion. Alright? So, it comes down to you were not forceful enough to tell her that she needed to do it by the 15th. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everyone? Yes? Okay? What's your question, Kay?
Okay. So how should I force her? I don't want to be so pushy.
You don't need to force her. You can say that. Okay, mute yourself. Is there another promotion coming up?
No. Because this
Of course there is.
on this only.
No. There's going to be a Raya promotion, isn't it?
No.
That's possibly. No, I'm telling you, there's going to be a Raya promotion. No company will let go of a Raya promotion. There might even be a Ramadan promotion. I'm telling you, there is. Okay? Here's what you can do. You can tell her, you know what? You missed it. There's nothing I can do. I told you that you needed to do this by the 15th and you don't listen to me. This is what we need to do. I cannot guarantee, but there's probably going to be a Ramadan or a Raya promotion. When as soon as I hear about it, I will let you know and let's get you locked in. That's how you need to follow up with her. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everyone? Do y'all kind of agree with that, right? Okay. In integrity, we cannot, roll back a promotion. And then on your end, if she agrees to that, then you go to your bosses and say, "Hey, when's the next promotion? Yeah, I got someone. I want to lock them in." Okay. Any other questions? King Fai, you look like you have a question. No? Yes? Okay. Okay, so let's do this. I will send out the recording of this morning and this afternoon, I will send out the PDF of the slides that we see today. Every link, every resource that I promised that you would get, I will send that out as well. I will also send out information on the Sales Edge Toolkit. There will be a link that you can see what is covered in it and how you can order it for $19.99. Now, you can use credit card, you can use PayPal. If you want to do a bank transfer, just send me a message or send me an email. Everybody got an email from me, right, so far? Everybody has my email address, yes? Okay. If you want to use a bank transfer or, give me cash or whatever, put it in an envelope and then slip it to me, let me know, all right? Here's what I will say about the toolkit. You're getting something that we used to sell for $299 US. If you get it, now when we were selling it for $299, I would push you really hard to get it because it's 300 freaking US dollars, right? For $20 US, $80, hey, you know what? Fuck it lah. You want to get, you get. You want to get it, your results will go up. I'm not going to chase you over $80. It's not. I'm telling you honestly, it's not worth my time to chase you for $80. All right? If you want to get it, just get it. If you don't get it, then you don't get it. I'm not gonna force you to get. All right? If you get it, you're going to have the things that we talked about today, and everything's prepared for you. So I'm telling you, I follow up on everything, but on something at this level of pricing, I will not force you, and I won't follow up. Okay? If you want to get it. If you order it, we'll send it to you immediately. You get it within minutes. All right? There's other things that we have. We have other programs coming up. We do a lot of, free. We're going to introduce a charity program later on. But we have programs coming up, and I'll let you know about those. I'm at a point where we don't charge thousands for our training. I used to charge thousands and thousands for our training, but I don't do that anymore. I'm at the point where I'm not saying that I don't need to. What I'm saying is that we don't need to be like other trainers and gurus, especially the fake ones, yeah. That come for this, and then I teach you how to make $1 million, and then to learn how to make $1 million, you pay me $10,000. This course is whole day course, yeah, is $200. Okay, there's no upsell after this. There's no like, okay, you spend $200 on this course, and I'm going to sell you $1,000. No, I don't buy into stuff like that. All right, I think CP, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so I'm on a mission because we need to know these things in order to be more successful. If you think that you need to be more successful, then take the information that I share with you today and start using it as early as Monday. Okay? We'll get all the recordings and everything sent out to you within 24 hours. What that means is you'll get it before 6 p.m. tomorrow. In all probability, you'll get it tomorrow morning. Okay? So I wanna thank all of you for sharing the time with me today. Kay, good to have you here on another time. Like I said, we had about 60 people register, and everybody gets it. Everybody gets a recording. One of the things that I'm a big believer in is, yes, you can watch the recording, but I think you get so much more when we have interaction. Okay, so you're welcome, King Fai. Does anybody have any final questions? Kay, I hope I answered your question. Even though I give you a hard time, ask me questions, because that's the way that we learn and improve. All right? Okay. So, do we have any final questions? At this point, I thought Kay was raising his hand. Okay. At this point, I'm going to stop the recording.